Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know I'm here too. I'm here too.
Rah!
Join me as always, Xavier Guerrero on the ones and twos. Jay Nice, Johnny Woodard. How are you guys?
Hola.
Hola, mi amigos. You crushed last night.
Did you finally find out?
No, you didn't even go up.
I know,
you
but
were
did you finally
crushing it.
find out that I'm a true Mexican? He saw me work.
Yeah.
He looked at me at one point.
What
He's
does
like,
that mean?
like work. Like,
Yeah.
What-
I
don't know what we're
helped
talking
him
Oh,
move.
he helped me move.
Oh, okay.
I might need you guys to help again. Is that okay?
Yeah, I mean,
of
I've
course.
offered.
But it's
I've
going to be
offered.
easy. Just doing bags. You're going to find out what kind of
Doing
hoarder.
bags?
Yeah, we're moving all the bags of clothes. Dude, if you want to give away clothes, bro, I'm going to have so many clothes.
we should do a mystery
Should I
box.
do a garage sale? Be like, garage sale, come
You
on
absolutely
down.
should, yeah.
Everything's $1.
Dollar.
Dude, you have a lot of old T-shirts, like merch and stuff. I would buy some for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to do. Guys, thanks for tuning in, man. We got a great show for you. Very excited. We had Zack Moore on, and he's got his book that he's pushing that he wrote with my good friend, and I just love him to death, Eddie Bravo. Eddie couldn't make it today because he was already scheduled something else we talked about in the show. But this is the book. It's Mastering the Metal, the story of James Watson and Eddie Bravo. It's a great episode. Okay, so we're just going to get into it. Guys, if you want to see Daddy live, I'm putting together shows. Guys, I just put together one of the greatest comedy chaos ever, okay? Woo! Bangers, bro. Nothing but bangers, man. We got one show at 8 p.m. and another show at 10:30. It's a great show, dude. I got everybody in it. It's like a festival, man. Come get weird. 2 shows, 8 and 10:30. Then this weekend, if everything goes according to plan, I'm going to be in Toronto, Canada, the Royal Comedy Center. Boop, boop, boop.
What's that? If everything goes to plan?
I don't know, man. Trudeau's go nuts.
Got
You
it,
never
got it,
know.
got it, got it.
You never know. Daddy might show up, be like, turn it around.
I could totally see that happening.
Me too, dude. So let's not put that into the universe.
Yes, that's not. I can never imagine that happening.
Okay, and then I'm putting together some May gigs, man. I'm pretty open on May right now. Putting together some gigs, and then June, San Diego at the American Comedy Company. Come get weird. Just go to the website, bro. Check it out. T-shirts are there. All my free content's there. Rockfin. I'm just putting out bangers on Rockfin. Conspiracy Social Club, Zero, and Tinfoil Hat. All my free content is there. All of it is there. And just, guys, support. If you really want to support the show, try to find either youtube.com/Sam Tripoli or youtube.com/CSC and subscribe, please. Subscribe.
Yeah, it's the only way for us to get around the censorship that
But
YouTube
let's
does.
say you're too lazy. You don't want to do that. It's very simple. Here's what you do. You go to samtripoli.com. All the YouTube videos are linked to my website. So as you watch them on my website, we get credit on YouTube. Help us out. Join the newsletter, dude. I must start putting out some newsletter. Somebody do something on the show. Anything else? Anything else?
Stay tuned after the show. We got clips too from Broken Sim, Conspiracy Social Club,
And we don't smoke the same.
Yes, stay tuned.
Can't wait to hear how the Mexicans break down historical events. Gonna be great for you, me, and everybody. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode with my good friend Zack Moore.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink.
Let's get into it. Very excited to have this guest, and we actually have 2 guests, and we have my good friend Mike Plaster. If you guys remember when we did what was it? Spiritual Talk for Babies. And then a bunch of idiots on the internet had to ruin that. But I'm very excited that he's here and also joining us. He's got a new book coming out. He did with my boy Eddie Bravo. It's called The Mastering the Metal. Please welcome to the show Zack Moore. How are you, Zack?
I'm awesome. Thank you for having out here.
Zack, I'm very excited we could finally make this happen. You and I have been talking about this for a long time, so it's cool that you finally got the book done and that we got you here on the show. So welcome, bro. Welcome.
Thank you.
For those who may not be familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where they can find you?
10th Planet Austin, Purple Belt, under Curtis Hembroff, Gabe Tuttle, Ben Eddy, super deep coaching staff. We've got an MMA team, just one of Eddie's like shining schools, one of our best schools. And I'm there, I work there, I train there, I'm there all day. So that's where you can find me, but also Zack Moore 10P on Instagram, Twitter. As we were saying, I got back on Twitter. You have not yet.
No,
you're too deep.
Dude, it is. I go, why is this happening? I mean, I know people who go super deep that got their back, got their Twitter back. I still have not gotten at Sam Tripoli back.
How long? It was a long time ago, though, right?
It was a long time ago, but people are like, I got my Twitter back. It's been 3 years.
Okay, dude, that's crazy. 3 years.
I am so dangerous,
dude. I got kicked off of Twitter for saying natural immunity was real back in the summer of 2021.
Think of that. I mean, think of what if you had to explain that to somebody 10 years ago that you got kicked off of social media for explaining natural immunity.
You think that's bad? I got kicked out because I said politicians drink baby blood. I mean, come on. It's getting weird out there.
That might be harder to explain.
So let's talk about your book real quick. You got a book with Eddie, and it's Mastering the Metal, and a story of James Watson and Eddie Bravo. And Eddie loves this guy.
Yeah, loves him.
What made you want to write this book?
I mean, dream come true to write something with Eddie, right? But then also he said the book's not about me, it's about James. And when you get into it and you get to know James, and I had a great conversation with him just last night. Like when you get to know him, he's a very special person. I think he's a very special person to Eddie too, as an example of someone who had, he had cancer. He has a hole in his head now. He had a stroke. He had just a series of health issues.
Going through it.
Yeah, he's gone through it, and he has come out the other side with a positivity that just exudes out of him. So, I've got stress going on in my life. Talking to him about it last night, and then just the way the perspective he has, considering all he's been through, it just has that kind of impact on you. And his favorite Bible verse is James 1:2 about struggle, about struggle being the obstacle is the way kind of thing, and he exemplifies it.
No, that's really great. And I've been blessed. Full disclosure, Eddie would love to be here, but he had another podcast already scheduled. I couldn't get out, so that's why he's not here right now. But I know he said he would love to have been here, but. So I've seen Eddie with James, and like Eddie is such a bull in a china shop, and he's just but when James is around, he's very gentle and very loving and appreciative of him, and it's very cool to see that because this guy goes back with Eddie before the Eddie that we all know.
When he was Edgar.
Yeah, when he was Edgar, dude, and he was death metal, bro. And it's fun to hear Eddie talk about that. Even last night, the Comedy Store was watching Eddie, connecting with the all-Latino crowd and watching Eddie kind of learn to spread his wings in comedy. And, we've been doing the conspiracy crowds, and they love him. But to watch Eddie kind of get out of that comfort zone and work with a demographic that I'm very sure that he wants to connect with,
Yeah.
Because he wasn't your traditional California Mexican.
Right.
He went down like he didn't connect with them, had crazy kind of childhood, and connected with the death metal people.
Yeah.
And I always say this, like Mexicans are like, I love Mexicans. I love everything about Mexicans.
They remind me of Italians.
They're very much Italian. It's that Catholic thing. We're gonna get into the flooding of illegals into America and how I think that has backfired on them because what's coming are economic Marxists, which hate the government.
Yeah.
And Catholics who tend to be conservative.
Yeah.
So Mexicans aren't down with any of this fucking
Once you give them citizenship, that's it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, we're not fucking with that.
They're
no
all
more.
dude, those Trump rallies were all Mexicans in fucking F-150s, bro. So I know he wants to, but he went down his own kind of road, and which makes Eddie so interesting.
I mean, James came at a super important time in his life. You know, he was 16 years old. He had a biological father and a stepfather that he was 0 for 2, you know. And James is 8 years older. So he kind of carried him along and showed him the way in a lot of ways, too. And I think when I listen to James, like, teach me stuff and the way that he's patient with, you know, the things that I'm sure he believes, and then he kind of teaches me and carries me along, you see the same way in Eddie, is that he's not going to tell you what to do. He's going to exemplify it. He's going to, you know, show you the way and hope you figure it out on yourself, you know, and James does too, and then, you know, helps you along.
Yeah, and it's just you know, it's just a love story, bro. But it's not just about metal and about Eddie, but it's also has a lot of dealing with what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
And, you know, Eddie is a top 4 conspiracy theorist on planet Earth.
For sure.
I mean, like, there's Alex Jones, who probably is the top. David Icke is right there. And then we're in a real debate. I think it's Eddie Bravo.
He's up there, man.
100% biggest flat earther.
Yeah. I mean,
that 100% he takes that. When people ask me, who's Eddie Bravo? I'm like, flat Earth guy, and they're like, oh yeah, the crazy guy on Rogan, and that's
Which
the thing.
is, you know, that it's crazy that he can be so accomplished in jujitsu and he's flat Earth guy to like.
He's so many different things.
So many people.
well, it is crazy to be world class in so many things.
That's what
Yeah.
it is.
I've
yeah.
always said that Eddie Bravo is the Jamie Foxx of Mexico.
It's a Renaissance man.
That's a good one, dude.
Right? Like,
Dude.
everything he does, he's really great at.
He's great at music too, man.
He's like,
Amazing.
he starts playing your songs like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is like, so, you remember when we were driving? I'm like, dude, this is really
And then
good.
he'll play it without telling him he's playing his song. He'll just like, can I get the aux?
Yeah.
And then he'll play around and he's like, what do you think about this? He's like, that's my shit.
Yeah, dude.
And it's great.
It's super impressive. So to like have somebody who's that creative take you along on a project with him, to get the okay from him to speak for him in a book form, something that's going to be around forever. I think we learned during COVID, like, it's like, hey, they can get rid of anything on the internet, but once you have something, if you're gonna burn my book, you got to buy it first at least, right?
For sure. Hey, that's what I was saying. Hey, man, you got to buy a book before you burn it. Good for the author.
Yeah, if you want to burn it, go buy it.
Yeah. You want to, like, when people would buy tickets to like a show and then purposely not show up, I'm like, hey, dude, at least you bought the ticket.
Yeah.
I don't even give a shit. But this isn't your first foray into writing a book.
Right.
And I kind of met you when we started doing the tinfoil hats, and we came to Austin, and they put us in this giant theater on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
And we were opposite of the Mystery Science Theater 2000 guys. So everybody in Austin went to that, and we had 100 people in this giant theater. But it was still a ton of fun. But that's where I met you.
Yeah.
That's why I learned the power of, like, 10th Planet Austin
Yeah.
and their incredible marketing scheme of just putting hot chicks doing jujitsu. And it works.
Fucking
It
works.
works. Everyone knows about it. Everybody wants to
Everyone
get
knows.
into jujitsu.
Yeah.
But you were struggling then because I don't think you had other occupations you were working on, right?
Yeah. At the time, I was really looking to get into the NFL world. I was really looking to be an NFL agent or work for an NFL team. And then COVID hits. I actually self-published my first book, Caponomics: Building Super Bowl Champions. Self-published, so it was like the Moneyball for football. And then I had a second edition of that was supposed to come out in November of 2020. But the riots hit and all the stuff that, you know, went on then. And if you said the wrong thing during that time, businesses were scared. So the company that I was supposed to put it out with just got rid of me because I was basically anti-burning down black neighborhoods, as I would like to put it.
No, for sure.
Right? Like, it was such a crazy time when you look back at it. So it was one of those times where it's like, if you don't want me, you don't want me. So that's fine. You know, you want to get rid of me, that's fine.
Take
because
us through
I'm
that
not going along.
process of getting to that point, though, because I know it was like,
Yeah.
were they coming out and saying it? Or were they just alluding to that you're a little too what they would deem right wing, and maybe you are right wing.
I don't know.
I'm old school liberal.
Yeah,
libertarian liberal.
When I hear you talk about it, that's where I'm at too.
Yeah, like I don't give a shit what you do with consenting adults. I'm not going to micromanage your life. My whole theory is keep cultural Marxism out of my kids' lives.
Dude.
Keep the government out of my life, and keep a religious zealous out of my bedroom. I don't want you telling me what to do, what I can, any of that stuff. Like I'm not going to try to push an idealistic world where I'm just going to take the best I can. Yeah. Which is like, hey, just don't fuck kids. How about that one? Whatever weird shit you want to do, I'm not going to micromanage. That's between you and God.
Dude, my girl's kids go to Austin ISD, right? So I don't have a choice. They're not my we gotta do it with we gotta co-parent, right? They'd be homeschooled if they were my kids, right? But they're at Austin ISD, which has its benefits as well because they're going through it and seeing all that stuff in school and seeing bullshit and being. It's our youngest 12-year-old. 12th birthday today, so happy birthday to Luca.
Happy birthday, Luca.
Yeah, a great kid, and they have like Gay Pride Week like 2 or 3 times a year, right? And so
in the school,
yeah, and they've been doing it since elementary school. They've been giving pronoun pins out since elementary school. So he comes home and he's like, it's like I got home super late from we had MMA fights in San Antonio, and then he wakes me up the next morning at like 10 a.m. He's like, Zach, I was telling the kids at school, I was like testing them, and I was going up to them, and I was like, this is all propaganda.
Oh, I cannot wait,
dude. So he was like, he's like, I did it to 5 friends, and they were all like, yeah, and I was like, well, what did you learn from that? Is that like if you're willing to say something that other people might not be comfortable saying, you might give them the courage to say it as well. Which is a super, super important lesson for him, but also funny, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And that's just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me. And you want to see what they really want to do? Go watch what's going on in Canada right now.
Yeah.
Today, basically, Trudeau was like, hey, man, if you protest trans at all, you're fined $25,000.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I understand it's not America, and I understand that we have the illusion of freedom of speech, which seems to be being eroded and we'll get into a lot of that as well.
Yeah.
The TikTok ban, but
Schellenberger was just great on Rogan illustrating through the Twitter files, man. And I sent that to Eddie, and he was like, fuck, this is and a lot of that stuff's in the book. So part about writing this was knowing that it would take 6 to 12 months for every truth in that book to come out. So it hit right now, and I just hear all of the themes in the book being talked about right now, which is an awesome feeling to know that you got your finger on the pulse, which is easy when you've got a school with 1,000 people in it and you're at the front desk constantly interacting with people and kind of getting an idea of what the public thinks about things. Like Mark Twain said, the reporter has a drink out with the public in the pub. The journalist has a drink behind closed door with the public official.
Yeah.
So I want to be that reporter. We want to be that reporter. We want to give a voice to the people that aren't allowed to say it, aren't allowed to say these things, because there's a lot of people out there that are involved in the system that can't say the things that they want to say. But they're, like you saw with the podcast you were just talking about that you just did, is that those comments are getting more and more positive because the tide is shifting and because people are feeling more free to maybe say it as well. But also there's a lot of people that are silent out there that agree with us as well. We just got to give it a voice.
Yeah, I did Colin Terrell's podcast, and I think he's one of the funniest young guys. But of course, and this happens all the time. You do a comics podcast, they do a quick edit, and a montage, and trying to make me look crazy. And even in the comments, like, dude, you're trying to make Tripoli look crazy. And I love Colin, but man, I couldn't believe how positive the whole thing. Because I used to go on your mom's house, and I would feel so bad that I brought so much negativity in the comment section.
Yeah.
Because when I go on somebody's podcast, they want to talk conspiracies with me.
Right.
But I'm willing to talk about anything with them. But they want to talk conspiracies. I'm like, I'll talk it, but I can also talk about whatever you normally talk about.
Like on your mom's house, they really wanted you to look crazy.
Yeah, they always.
That episode was like, hey, can you come in here?
No,
yeah. But
when
it's
I
great,
came
though.
in with a sombrero, that's fine. And by the way, I love the Seguras. They are.
Oh, they're the best.
They are the best. I would murder somebody for them. That's how much I love them. And so I'm not mad at them at all. But it's just because it's not just that one. Like Legion of Skanks loves to bring me on and be like, talk conspiracy. And then the room just gets quiet and I feel like a piece of shit because I can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about.
I mean, you go to
Let's
fight.
leave this case. Let's talk racism. Let's talk black dicks. Let's whatever you want to talk about, I'll talk about. I'm very diverse.
I mean, you on Fight Companion.
Yeah.
And they're just looking at you. Can you?
Yeah.
Can you go deep, please?
Yeah. And I'm just like, I can talk about anything, but the tide is turning, and people are waking up to it more and more. The question is, how deep does it go?
Right.
That's the question. So, what are some of the things that you saw in this book that you talked about that you think are kind of going on right now? Do you?
It's from I try to give there's history's written by the victors, right? And I think that we are the victors. We just have to convince enough people about it because our enemy has an entire system that's holding them up. It's colleges, it's the universities, it's the school, the K through 12, it's the media, it's corporations. The riots break out in May of 2020. And cities are burning down, and then next Monday every corporation in America is like, we stand with BLM, as like chaos is going on, right? Right. So the whole point of the system is to convince you that they have the numbers, right? Like we all know Joe Biden didn't get X number of votes, right?
Yeah. Oh, do we? I mean, I fight with people all the time.
Right.
I'm like, dude, this has never shown up anywhere. This has never shown. Those numbers, that 81%, hasn't shown up anywhere
Ever
at
before.
any point.
Yeah.
He was at one point the 6th ranked Democrat in the Democratic caucus, primary, excuse me.
Yeah.
The Democratic primary. All the other guys had to step down.
Yeah, for him to win. You can almost forget about that part about it too. What a weak candidate he was, and what a strong candidate Trump was before all this stuff happened, right?
Camel Toe Harris was the first one to bow out.
Dude.
Because she bottomed out so badly after Tulsi Gabbard, and we could have a discussion about her, but Tulsi Gabbard snatched her soul.
Yeah.
And she bowed out first because she's polling so poorly.
Yeah.
You're telling me these two got more numbers than Chocolate Jesus? Get out of here.
Dude, Chocolate Jesus. Wow, that's a good one. I mean, Obama's a great. That was the beginning of all this division, but it was so sneakily done. Like it was the beginning.
I'm gonna tell you, brother, that started with George Bush Sr.
Yes.
forcing his way into becoming Ronald Reagan's vice president, because Ronald Reagan was used because he was secretly a retard.
And he was a good face.
But he was a great speaker.
Yeah.
Like when you watch Ronald Reagan's speeches, I mean, after the last, like, Obama's a great speaker. I mean, he's a great speaker. His cadence, it was like,
he mesmerized you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, man, I mean, you couldn't be more of a fraud than Obama. Everything about him wasn't real. There was nothing real about him.
What I mean by the division is like that was the beginning of like just calling people names if they disagreed with you in a really big way. I feel like.
I mean, like the people, and make no doubts about it, like we are so much more savvy. I feel like if you're into this stuff than we were ever before. Like today if you've listened to the show long enough, you would realize that John McCain, who ran against Obama, did not hate him.
Nope.
Because they had all been working together to assassinate Muammar Gaddafi, form, fund, arm, and train ISIS. They were all working together. But so George Bush Jr. and Dick Cheney makes everybody hate old white guys.
Yeah.
So who do you have?
And Republicans.
Charismatic black guy.
Yeah.
Comes up, charismatic. And who do you run him against? Fucking weird-armed old dude, chicken wing, right? Chicken wing, John McCain.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's him too. Yeah, they did the same thing with Dole, though. It's
when they wanted
with
to
Clinton,
when they really want to get somebody in, they put the other party puts the worst person possible.
Yeah.
And you could not get a John McCain in after we hated Dick Cheney.
No,
it was done on
crippled,
purpose to sabotage him, and because Obama is a Bush.
Yeah, and that's an important thing is that from 1980 through 2016, it was basically Bushes and Clintons running, and like we pretend we have like a free and open thing, and then Trump wins, and every single presidential candidate of my lifetime hated him, and I'm like, oh, if you all hate him, then you all must be on the same team. Like becomes pretty obvious. That was the big tipping point for me.
Right,
about Trump.
I think, and that's a very important take, is that it's a different team. Now, I am very, very, me and Eddie aren't necessarily in line on this, that Trump is the savior. I just think he's a different crime family.
I like that take too.
You know?
Yeah.
That he just is like, I sit there and think anyone's going to save anything. Do I think he gives us our best chance? 100%.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Well, best chance versus what, though? What do you mean? Like, of the realistic candidates, is that what you're saying to be president?
I think there's a part of Trump that is a nationalist.
Yeah.
That wants America to do well. That's my opinion.
Versus an entirely global perspective.
I mean, if we're going to sit there and go, is Joe Biden did he take huge amounts of money from the Chinese?
Dude, that's the kind of stuff
Obviously.
Right? So, why would he be fighting the Chinese right now? Like, is he, and let's be honest, President Joe Biden, that position most likely is a figurehead for the most part,
For
right?
sure.
Right?
It had never been more apparent.
But Senator Joe Biden and Vice President Joe Biden, those guys did damage. I'm not saying.
When he was a senator, I mean, he was. I went to the Senate in like the late '90s, and I remember just walking away so impressed with. I was like, that guy's running shit down here. Like, he was really competent. He was aggressive, super masculine, like just kicked ass. And he's a shell of himself. He's Weekend at Bernie's now.
Do you
think he knows?
No.
That he's just or do you think in his head he's still running shit?
No.
Oh, I don't know. He might know.
I think he knows that he's just there.
He's just there to look pretty. Not even pretty, but just stand there.
He's just
look pretty. His face is falling off.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's like, if you don't think they have multiple Joe Bidens, I'm sorry, dude. I mean, I know this gets in the crazy town, but those masks.
Look at the earlobes.
Yeah, 100%.
The earlobe pictures, they don't look the same.
So I want to go back. I want you to talk a little bit more. I don't want to talk the whole time. I'm super jacked. But you were talking about corporations and getting behind BLM instantly. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And that's what,
The shooting that just happened, the White House comes out and Joe Biden laughs when he comes out to talk about it and talks about ice cream when he's talking about dead kids. But every other time a school shooting happens, it's like the most somber thing ever. And then it's immediately like, it's Trans Visibility Week. We stand with the trans community. They're telling you. They're kind of egging people on. They're egging mentally, let's be honest and empathetic to it, but they're egging mentally unstable people on. You will be a martyr for this cause, right? And so in that book, you brought up what are these main narratives? In the parts of the book that are in my voice, we use James' voices to go back and talk about the Eddie Bravo origin story. My voice is set in January 2022, looking around at LA, which was a much different LA than it is right now. 90% mask compliance outside, just a whole different environment. But through that, I also talk about who Eddie is now, who he became as a jiu-jitsu guy and a martial artist, and then really just weaving that conspiracy stuff in there with the smoke sessions and the jam sessions after practice, talking about those moments, talking about COVID, and then just that grand conspiracy, which is the military-industrial complex, the CIA, and the way that the modern American system has been run ever since Dwight D. Eisenhower made that speech leaving office, warning us about the military-industrial complex that had grown to 3 million jobs after World War II, right? After World War II, there's 3 million jobs. There's no way to get rid of those jobs in a politically viable solution because 3 million people then don't have work. So then we just kept looking for wars to fight. And then those wars to fight basically became CIA drug running operations. The CIA kills JFK. The CIA gets Nixon out of office, which we now know. These are things that we're just finding out.
Yeah, I mean, Nixon had to be the way they branded him.
You never want to be Nixon.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Nixon's the worst. You're like, okay. I mean, again, there's no Boy Scouts in the presidency.
None
I
of
mean,
them.
if you're looking for a pure angel, you're never going to be happy. But I mean,
that's why arresting him is fucking crazy to me.
Yeah, you're telling me he's my friend. If you arrest Trump, you're kind of you're.
Well, that's honestly. Don't you all think it's a terrible mistake by the Democrats doing this? Like, it's.
But the question becomes:
are they that dumb? Can they be that dumb?
Yeah, or is this part of a charade?
That's right. Yeah, that's the next level to it, right?
Is it full WWE?
Well, it's not necessarily that they're trying to empower him to become president. They want domestic terrorism. That's what they want. Everything they're doing goes, hey, if I go look at everything through the lens of them wanting domestic terrorism.
Yeah.
Now look at everything that's happened. Does that seem like it would invoke people to lose their mind and start rioting? 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that Bud Light commercial shit is that just trying to piss people off? Like, trans don't drink beer, let alone Bud Light. Like, who is that for?
I did this joke on Conspiracy Social Club, and Brian just stared at me. I go, the only way Bud Light makes Dylan, and I met Dylan before before she transitioned, and if you met her, a hand of God, you would be like, oh, that's a chick in a dude's body. There's nothing about that outside her anatomy that was a guy.
It sucks that they're using this person then.
No, yeah. But you go to here's the whole thing. You just gotta kind of go. You gotta ask yourself questions that relieve your anxiety.
Yeah.
And you have to go. Was she supposed to turn down that money?
No.
Nobody would do it.
No.
So I tell people, it's not them. It's not them. It's these corporations. Bud Light is trying to get a high ESG score.
Yep.
They don't care about whether you buy.
Yeah.
They care about BlackRock doing business with them.
Yes.
That's all they care about.
Yes.
And Dylan is just cashing checks the whole way. Is it right? No. Is she doing damage to her own community? 100%.
But if she did it, any of them would anyways.
There's not a trans that wouldn't take Bud Light.
That's what I'm saying. And there's not one. They would all be, fuck yeah, I'm with it. Give me that money.
It's what I say about Brandon Schaub's Showtime special. He was 2 years in.
Yeah.
He's my friend. I think I'm on the record. Cut this up. Put it wherever you want. I think Brandon Schaub's super funny. I love hanging out with him. I was hanging out with him the other day. Kalen, Chris Lea walked in. And, dude, it was the funniest shit I've ever watched in my life, to the point I got depressed when I left.
His podcast, he's always been, like, in terms of, like, podcast funny, he's always been about as funny as it gets.
So you're 2 years in, and Showtime goes, you want to do a special? There's not a comic 2 years into comedy that wouldn't take that.
Yeah, I'm not ready, really.
No,
I'd
dude,
love to. Come back in like 2 or 3
Keep
years.
the bag.
Maybe.
Keep the bag. I don't want the bag.
Yeah, keep the $300,000 that they probably give you to shoot a special. Keep it.
Keep it.
I'm going to go do this open mic at a coffee shop.
I need to work on my chops. Yeah,
100%. So when we get, and listen, dude, what am I saying that what Dylan is right? No, I'm just saying she got offered, I wouldn't doubt, at least $1 million to do that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen unless Bud Light approaches them. Hey, guys, I want to tell you about our friends at Mood, okay? Mood puts an end to the guessing game. It's a 100% federal legal Delta 8 and Delta 9 THC you can have shipped straight to you. No doctors, no waiting, just affordable, legal THC for a limited time. Mood is giving our listeners, so here's what's happening, okay? For a limited time, Mood is giving our listeners free Delta 9 gummies and 20% off your first order. Visit HelloMood.com and use the promo code TINFOIL.
Those Delta 9 gummies are fire. They sent me a little bit of that. I also went on the website, got the caviar pre-rolls, got the THC moon rocks, took them over there to the B-roll studio. They had no idea what fucking hit them. It was, they were like, where'd you get this? I was like, don't worry about it. Use promo code
TINFOIL.
TINFOIL.
Mood offers federally legal forms of THC extracted from hemp plants. The experts at Mood have tested and tailored different strains for specific needs. If you want energy, they've got that, creativity, focus, other moods such as euphoric, erotic, sleepy, chill, social, and body soother. They've got all of that, and plenty of versatile products that go with whatever mood you're going for. They've also got great tasting gummies, classic flower, convenient pre-rolls, and so much more.
All right, so here's what we want you to do. If you're ready for a good time without the guesswork, order your THC products from Mood today. And for 20% off your first order of free gummies, go to hellomood.com and use the promo code TINFOIL. That's HELLOMOOD.com, promo code TINFOIL for 20% off your order and free gummies.
This is a super important point you made about dividing people up, is that I carry a couple books around sometimes. Like, I always have a book in my backpack. And one I've had lately is a speech by a slave owner from 1712 named Willie Lynch. And it's about how to control your slaves.
Did you think that lynching is named after Willie Lynch?
Probably.
I mean,
Maybe.
that's on brand.
That's on brand right there. But he walks in, right? He's walking. He's like, I smelled someone hanging back there, right? Or
oh yeah, then that's definitely where the lynching comes from.
probably,
When you can smell
right?
it, bro.
Yeah. He's got a nose on him, fucking Willie Lynch, dude. Smells. But so
Gonna be a hanging.
he's mentioning though, like you need to control your slaves. You can't kill them. You can't, like, you don't want your stuff to be out, your crops to be out in the field too long. You don't want, it's an economic, he makes an economic argument for controlling your slaves, right? And what does he say? Is you divide all of them up and you make them distrust each other. You divide them based on their skin color, their age, their role, their every single thing you can divide them up by. You divide them all up, you get them arguing with each other, and then they'll never come together to take you out.
Yep.
And so that's what that system that we talk about above us, the system that governs all of this.
And that is alive today. And you know where we saw it happen, and they got busted in real time doing that? Amazon. Amazon emails were leaked of them talking about they wanted to create diversity issues in the workplace because everyone at Amazon wanted to unionize.
Yeah.
So they were going to get them fighting over ages and all that stuff. That's exactly what happened.
You're going to love, because all this kind of, that the kind of stuff that's in it is that it's about saying, it doesn't matter that your product kills people. You tweet it, you hashtag BLM, right? Like, it's always about dividing you so that you just never get to collective bargaining. You never realize that, oh, they just fired a bunch of old white guys because they were old and white and no one's going to complain about it. But you're next. They run out of old white guys to fire. You know, Facebook's getting rid of 10,000 people. You know, it's like everyone's on the chopping block. But they've done this kind of, you know, cutting costs, you know, getting around, you know, that's what illegal immigration's about, you know, cutting costs, and that's what globalism's about, going to China for your stuff. It's like you're never doing the right thing, but you're always telling us in public you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and it's also about taking people who have a lot of time on their hands
and driving them nuts.
Like rich kids.
Yeah.
You know, more and more I do this, the more and more I think we have a drive in us for a couple things: to eat, to breathe air, drink, eat, okay, and then sex, and then I think there's one that nobody talks about, and that is this desire to feel fight or flight.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay,
good point.
And it's like hardwired into us. And when you're born into the most pristine hospitals behind gated communities and all that stuff, everything's set. You go out seeking other people's problems.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now you've got everything solved. Now you need the purpose, and people have found purpose in the wrong things.
Purpose in things that are never tangible. You are always going to fight a shadow in a cave. There's at no point that shadow won't be there. Global warming, okay? Racism. There's never going to... Once we had a president that was black, we should be like, oh, nope, made it worse, right? Yeah. Equality, the numbers, gun violence. They lie. They lie. People you love lie about the numbers.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart, who we all looked at as this beacon of truth, when the right versus left was set. And we thought the right was like for the banks and the corporations, and the left was just fight for the little people. They're gonna fight for these disenfranchised people. And like it was really easy to do comedy when that was fucking set. And then Hillary came like the selfish bitch she is, and she fucking it's like Dane Cook's joke about a Monopoly game when you're losing, you're just like, fuck this game. You just like flip the game up. That's what she did to the two-party paradigm.
Yeah, such a horrible person. You can't pretend that she like cares about you.
Yeah, 100%.
She's a horrible person.
She really is.
Again, we talk about it all the time on this show. The illusion of two parties should have been quashed when we found out that like they were running cocaine through Arkansas. When George Bush's CIA was running cocaine through Bill Clinton's
state.
Arkansas.
Yeah. And then Joe Biden comes in and he writes a crime bill to deal with all the problems that those other two guys created,
100.
which just locks up black men, which is the other thing Willie Lynch says, is that you have to demoralize black men so that the black women, you just upend the family structure. And you just ruin generation after generation. You set them into this cycle. And the thing is that what they've done to like black people, they're just trying to do to everybody now.
Oh, dude. They started it and it was started with the natives.
Yes.
On reservations. You talk to any indigenous woman, she'll tell you they killed all the fucking wildlife, so the men had nothing to hunt. They
gave them money.
They gave them drugs.
Yeah.
They gave them alcohol.
Yep.
They saturated it with them. Women still had their jobs of being mothers, so they still had jobs, and men were lost. And then you saw that happen 100% with the black community. And then you talk to people who hate Trump, and I go, what about this crime bill? And I talk to somebody, he's like, well, everybody wanted that crime bill. Doesn't matter, because they got lied to.
Yeah.
They got lied to what this is. In this
There was no internet. It was 1994.
Right. So what they didn't know at that point was that the crack was coming in through the people who were making the bill.
Yeah. It's a crazy story. That was the first Joe Rogan episode I ever listened to, him and Freeway Rick Ross back in 2012.
Right.
And I had no idea. I had no idea that was the source of the entire crack epidemic. And then we see that story replayed. And that's what I mean when I say they did it to black people first and they did it to everybody else. Is the 2000s were the opiate epidemic. So in 1995, a woman named Janet Woodcock gives great name because she fucked everybody.
You have the best names.
Yeah, Janet Woodcock, 1995, gives Purdue Pharma a label that says this is not addictive. And today, she's like the deputy commissioner of the FDA. So she fucked up so royally that she created an epidemic.
Did she fuck up?
She fucked up morally. She did exactly what her job was for them. Right? And that's why and that's what we see over and over and over, is that this system promotes people who fuck up, quote unquote. We would think it's a fuck up. To them, it was like, this is great. I mean, the year before 9/11 happened, the Taliban comes in and cuts poppy production in Afghanistan. Then 9/11 happens. And then we go to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And now it produces 95% of the world's opium.
Yeah, but you know that it happened in the whole point of Vietnam was the
drug running.
Yeah, was the Golden Triangle.
Yeah.
And then they sold us. I mean, just think about how powerful a corporation is, that they are willing to kill an entire generation of people.
Yes.
To get the opium, to create their drugs, to get everybody hooked on everything.
Yes. Yes.
And it's just insanity to me.
There's so much that the system sells us that destroys us.
Yes.
It's just, it's trying to destroy you, which is what the interesting part about having James involved in this project too, is you bring in a religious aspect, you bring in the story of Jesus Christ, and you bring in the thing that we're all seeking. We're all seeking the truth. We're all seeking a better way of doing things. We're all seeking just to not do things that get in the way of us moving forward towards what we're trying to move forward towards, which is whatever that version of enlightenment for us is, right? You're a big philosophy guy. I mean, that's what we're all seeking out, you know, and the system's trying to rob you of that. And there's a great angle to it with music, what was produced with the music and the corporations that took over the music and what's in the music and the way that the ancient Greeks knew that music was such a vehicle to either nourish your soul or corrupt your soul.
Yeah, sound is definitely. Before we get into that, I want to go back to what you were talking about, corporations, because I think it's important to really understand that none of this is real. None of this is real. When CMT, the Country Music Awards, have a giant drag queen show in the middle of it, that is done on purpose. That is to demoralize the conservative move, which tends to be country music.
Yes.
That's the same reason why they shot up the Vegas shooting and the concert.
Yes.
That was picked specifically because that was a country music concert. Who is the most Second Amendment out there? Country music people, and that everything is done for incredible impact.
Yeah.
So do you think that Little Nas X was in that country song on purpose? Remember that country song that played back, and then all of a sudden he's a big trans person?
There's a difference between what they're trying to do and what people think, right? So I don't listen.
Lil Nas X is to corrupt the kids.
Yeah, but it's also that, like, if you watch that drag queen show, there's a giant applause after that. And I don't take that as a negative thing. I take that as that crowd is very open-minded. And, like, I think most people have no problems with drag shows. I think their problem is when you bring kids there.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
What they're trying to do with that and what that crowd received it as could be two totally different things, right? Because that is about, no matter where you are, we have reach.
Yeah. We're coming for you. Wherever you are, we're coming.
But when
we're
you
not gonna
do
stop.
the most I think liberal places are red states.
Yeah.
They'll laugh at, like, if you get up there and you get super racist or super homophobic, like, they'll get quiet on you. But if you bring up a funny observation about any demographic, they'll laugh at it because they're open-minded to it. And they'll be like, if you're going to make fun of white people, you can make fun. And this is my whole bit about everybody's retarded.
Yeah.
Right? Like, blacks are retarded, Jews are retarded, gays are retarded. And then, and
he keeps going for a cool minute.
Yeah. And it's just like everybody's retarded.
Everybody.
And like, at the end, everyone is laughing their ass off because they know it's true. And that's what I think red states are. I know Arizona's like kind of purple.
Who knows?
No. I know. I do shows
voting's
there.
fake.
You go there, it's like it's red as fuck. Everybody.
They got their guns on their hip. They don't have it under a shirt. They got it on their fucking.
Do you feel like that about Nevada too?
I feel like
because they say it's purple. I'm like, dude, this is pretty red. Like it's.
Well, here's the whole thing.
It's purple one day every 4 years.
Nevada's got a workers union though that kicks the shit out of whips people up to vote and stuff. Those workers unions.
There's so much like quote unquote sin in Sin City, right? Like the sin, and those people who participate in that tend to be more progressive, right? So it's a little bit of everything, right?
It's true.
So it's probably purple. I would say Arizona. Obviously in Tucson and parts of Phoenix are blue. But I would tell you the rest of the state is rare meat red.
I will say in 2012, I phone banked in Nevada and called Arizona too. And that we got for Ron Paul. And there's a lot of blue in Arizona.
That's what I mean, like in the bigger cities, but the small. Like
every city. There's no major city in the entire country that's not blue.
But
not one.
That I think that's done. I think that's part of the psyop.
What do you mean?
I mean, if you own the city, and once you win and you install Democrats everywhere, you can rig every vote for the rest of the time.
Well, that's what they say is Canada's thing. Like the county that Toronto's in is like the blue county of Canada.
Yeah.
And that's why he wins every election, Justin Trudeau, because he wins that one county. It's more people than anywhere else.
He's dark. He's dark.
Yeah, literally, this blackface.
That's true. That's true. He got away with it. The amount of times that like people with certain politics get away with certain. I mean, Trump getting arrested is a perfect example. No one on Epstein's client list has gotten arrested, but Donald Trump's arrested for paying off some porn star. An NDA.
Which he didn't even do, which Michael Cohen did. And like the funniest thing is like Michael Cohen, who like literally went to jail, has a show on Sirius Radio.
Of course.
After his podcast, and they're promoting the fuck out of it, right?
Of course.
And you're like, why? And you're like, oh, because you turned on Trump. They're rewarding you for that. This is your payment. We're going to pay you an insane amount of money. Nobody really knows what your numbers are.
I think the important thing when you bring up BlackRock and you bring up these big corporations is that you need to consider if you had $1 billion, you essentially have an infinite supply of money. You now don't care how much money you have. What you care is how much influence you have. And Glenn Greenwald did a good thing about, I think it was about The Intercept, which you founded. But he's just talking about the economics of it. He's like, there's no way that this thing is making money at this point because it's the same gobbledygook that everyone else is selling, and it's getting 10,000 views on this thing that they spent a ton of money on, right? Like, so it's not about making more money. It's about investing. Like Bill Gates, I'm going to leave my money behind to change the world. Change the world in your image.
Yeah, for sure. You're
right.
a Molochian motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you get into Trump, again, if we actually take a look at the things that Trump did, that you can go, wow, that doesn't sound very positive, right? And that he installed BlackRock as the company that runs the Federal Reserve. And everyone was like, oh my God, he's taking the Fed back from the Rothschilds. You're like, no, dude, he just installed another Rothschild entity because Vanguard owns a giant chunk of BlackRock.
Yes.
But you don't know who owns Vanguard because they won't tell you, because that company is allowed to operate in a way that nobody else is, which is they don't tell you their biggest shareholders, which are all the lizard people.
Yeah.
The Royals, the Rothschilds, the Rockefeller, all that. That's how they do it. And so now you got the company, right, that everyone's trying to kiss their ass to work with, running the Federal Reserve, which bails everybody out. So what happens? So we got this run where everyone's losing money. Disney, all these people losing money, right? They're losing money. So what happens? Silicon Bank, we got a default. It's got a default. And then that gets the bank run going, which makes the Federal Reserve do another giant bailout and clean up all the debt from all of this woke bullshit that's crashing and burning.
Yeah. And there's two things from that. The first is those banks getting bailed out is a signal to all the citizens, get your money in the banks that are more likely to get bailed out. So they're picking the winners, right?
Yes.
And the other super important thing,
Do you know why they're getting rid of the small banks?
probably so we eventually get to some kind of central bank.
It's easier to start a crypto if you only got Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo.
100%.
You got these little banks, you got to fucking somehow get them.
100%.
Get rid of them. Bye.
Get rid of them, right? So this senator from Oklahoma is talking to Janet Yellen, and she's like, well, we aren't telling people to put their money in there. He's like, but you're guaranteeing that these banks will like survive no matter what stupid shit they do. But the second important thing you just brought up is just the fact that people know who BlackRock and Vanguard are, right? At the beginning of the pandemic, Trump said invisible enemy a bunch of times. We're seeing who that invisible enemy is, and that's once we at least know who the enemy is, we can start to strategize ways to defeat that
None of this
enemy.
is real. That's the biggest thing I want people to get from this. None of this is real. None of it, okay? You don't need the government and you don't need the corporations to enact laws if something is happening naturally. The fact that they're coming up with all these ridiculous bullshit laws, like Toronto, like Canada saying if you protest trans, you're going to get fined 25 grand, means it's not working and they're forcing something unnatural to happen.
Which exposes it.
Right. And it's like they just look dumber and dumber. So even if you're the most liberal person in the world, you got to be like, hold on, I can't, or progressive, I can't protest this, or else you're going to fine me 25 grand, which to most people is life crippling money.
Crippling.
Right?
It's an impossible thing to recover for 99% of people.
25 grand is life crippling money to a lot of people.
It's like the thing that you told me, where if they ban TikTok and you somehow get on TikTok, you're pretty much fucked.
Well, yeah, but dude, we'll get into that. Again, corporations, how they operate, right?
We're being told that this one's bad, whereas they're all bad.
They're all bad.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, the Chinese got, dude, they're spying on you, the Chinese. Okay, let's just say that's true, which it is. How many people in this room, there are 5 guys in this room. How many of you have been to China?
2 of you.
2. The majority hasn't. Now, if we expanded that out from a guy who, a comic and a guy who films stuff and does jujitsu everywhere, and then we went to the regular people and asked how many you've been to China, it's probably less than 10%. probably down to 4,
Yeah.
2, 3%.
Yeah.
Right? So the Chinese government's spying on you, and I'm not saying it's right, but what kind of threat is that to you versus your own government spying on you?
Yeah. The Twitter files, right there.
Which is Instagram, which is Twitter, which is Facebook, which is Google.
And whatever they got, they already got.
Yeah, it's not even. How can you call it? It's hard to call it spying when you're just giving up all this information freely.
I mean, if you're doing anything on your phone, you have to assume that they know about it.
They know.
And that's why I'm very honest about what a fucking piece of shit I am. Right?
You're not going to find anything out about me and my phone.
I've already talked about it. Mr. Tripoli, we know about the time when you were young where you fucked your sofa.
Yeah, they slide some photos under your door.
Sam doesn't care. Sam leaves comments in the Pornhub section.
Yeah.
He's like, he's got an account.
Right? So I'm not saying that's okay or any of it's okay, but just know the only reason they told you about that is because, one, they don't get the data, and two, they want to use it as the Trojan horse.
Yes.
And they're pissed that they can't do it in China because China will not allow Instagram over there.
No, it's crazy,
Not American
right?
Instagram. They're like, get the fuck out of here. You're not stealing our data.
Yeah, but this is cause a problem. You know what this is the equivalent of, and this shows you how uncreative and how not creative they are. This is the exact same thing they did with COVID. Do you guys remember the videos of the Chinese people falling down? We didn't see that till when? Vaccines. Right? Vaccines was the first time we saw people falling. But that's what they use to get the ball rolling, to get you to fear. So then you're like running around, please jab me. I don't want to, So that's what they did with TikTok. They set it up that the Chinese government is spying on you.
Yeah, remember when everybody wanted the shot because it was only for old people?
Yeah.
You remember people were like, oh, dude, oh, man, I wish I was fucking 65.
Yeah. Right?
I wish I was close to death.
Right?
Then I could be even closer, but this jab.
Hey, guys, I want to tell you about our friends at Miracle Made. That's right. Whether you want to get more fit, be a better parent, or get more done at work, there is one thing that will help, and that's better sleep. All right. With Miracle Made sheets, you can tap into the power of self-cooling temperature regulation, which has been shown to improve deep sleep quality by over 20%.
Using silver-infused fabrics, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get a better night's sleep every night. They're self-cleaning. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. That means no more gross odor, Sam. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands and feel as nice, if not nicer, than the bed sheets used by some 5-star hotels. They're also better for your skin, so stop sleeping on bacteria. Clean sheets mean less bacteria to clog your pores and fewer breakouts and other skin problems.
So here's what we want you to do. Go to trymiracle.com/tinfoil. All right, that's TRYMIRACLE.com/tinfoil to try Miracle Made sheets today. And with Mother's Day and Father's Day right around the corner, this is the perfect way to give someone you love the gift of better, more luxurious sleep. Save over 40% and be sure to use the promo code tinfoil at checkout to save even more and get 3 free towels. Miracle is so confident in their product, it is backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund, okay? Upgrade your sleep at Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/tinfoil and use the code tinfoil to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40%. Again, that's trymiracle.com/tinfoil to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. Again, it goes back to everything they're doing is set up domestic terrorism, and this bill is going to allow them to basically turn us into Russia. And someone put the funniest thing. I saw a meme that somebody put there, like, the United States spent 50 years fighting USSR just to become a gayer version of it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Well, the interesting thing when you pull back on COVID and all the corporation stuff is what you just brought up is corporations need to always grow. So where's the biggest potential for growth for them? The biggest potential growth for them is China. And the best example of that is the NBA. Mm-hmm. The NBA in 2019, Daryl Morey stands with Hong Kong. LeBron James, who has an opinion on fucking everything. He can't shut his fucking mouth about anything. And he knows nothing about nothing if those are his real opinions. Or he's just lying on purpose.
I fully believe he's an idiot. I totally do.
He's been told he's the best since he was 14. So
dude, we always assume that because you're insanely great at something, all-time great at something, that you're all-time great at everything. It's why basketball players become rappers and fail miserably.
Yeah.
You're lucky
That's
to be...
why Eddie Bravo's so amazing.
Yeah, it really is. That's why people like Eddie Bravo, Jamie Foxx, who are world-class at so many disciplines, that you're just like, holy shit, you know? Yeah. Like, I'm lucky to be okay at one thing.
Eddie's superpower is pattern recognition. That might be the biggest thing I learned from the book in terms of what makes him special. Through that process is pattern recognition. His ability. He started producing music when he was 13. He produced complex music when he was 18 with James. Super complex music. So he's able to recognize where things are supposed to fit in. He's able to recognize where things are supposed to fit in jiu-jitsu for the end goal objective, which is finishing somebody, submitting somebody, right? And so we get LeBron, and LeBron's been told he's the best thing on earth since he was 14, which is a difficult thing to do. I mean, God, imagine our egos with that kind of thing going
100%.
on.
100%.
So sympathy to that, empathy to that, but man, I mean, he'll say whatever he needs to say to keep having little kids make his shoes. He's the biggest benefactor of slavery in the world today. He has a $1 billion contract with Nike. There may be no bigger benefactor of slavery in the world today.
100%.
But here he is, Black Lives Matter, trying to... I mean, remember the Ahmaud Arbery shooting in Georgia? He tweets out, this is like early May, right? This was like the first attempt to get people out in the street, right? And then George Floyd was just the thing that just got set off.
Was that the one with the guy going in the houses?
Yeah, he was going in houses, and he said he was out jogging or something like that. And then he got
Timberland?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
You're jogging in work boots.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that what it was like?
The two guys?
The two guys that shot him, like kind of like
now they're in jail.
Yeah,
so
like a citizen's arrest type of shit. They were trying to commit a citizen's arrest, and like, nope.
Nate had issues with him, but you know those. I want you to finish your point. Then I want to go back to why, and I've talked about why they use those videos. Go on.
Yeah, but you know, he's like, they're trying to. It's like all caps. It's like they're trying to shoot us in the street. Colin Kaepernick after George Floyd is like, it's not. It's time for retaliation. Those were the words he used. I mean, dude, the LSU situation with the women's basketball, with the girl going up in Caitlin Clark's face, like, and then watching the media just try and drum up division using it. It's super interesting because this girl is acting so out of pocket. She follows this girl around for 10 seconds.
Well, let me push back on that because that's what the other girl who is the one might be the greatest female basketball player of all time. There's another woman, who's in the WNBA who is won 4 championships at UConn, is crushing it. I think she plays in Seattle. I'm not sure.
Maya Moore, maybe?
Maybe that's her name.
Yeah.
White girl with big teeth. It's like really, like more like big gums.
Della Dawn. Della Dawn is her name.
Big gums.
Yeah.
Like she has just those weird,
those
like
AOC
alien
gums.
Your
gums.
dream girl, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm a big teeth guy, not a big gum guy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't like big gums. I like big teeth.
Important distinction there.
Yeah, very.
No, I agree.
Big gums are gross. But that chick was doing that before. But
There's some big gum girl out there looking in the mirror.
She's so mad right now. She unfollowed. She unsubscribed.
I'd still hit it, just so you know. But
good guy.
But that the white girl was doing that before, and then when
she was doing it to her bench. She was doing, and that's the thing is that the media started running with like it's the same thing, but she just did it to her bench, right?
During the game, too.
Yeah, during the game.
Yeah, but even both of those, neither of them are a big deal. The fact that they're making it a big deal is
they make it a racial thing.
Yeah, and then you got everyone coming out on, oh, can you believe it? It's like, dude, it's like insanity, man. And then the white girl had to come out and go, it's not a big deal. They won. I don't know why everyone's giving her shit. Like, no, and then you got Biden's wife, who was his teenage teenage babysitter, which is so insane, bro.
What?
That story's nuts.
She was a babysitter
Jill Biden was his teenage babysitter
when
Biden's
Biden's
wife one day was his babysitter.
back in the day.
So grooming.
No. Biden's wife died. The mother of like Bo or Hunter or something.
Yeah.
And then Jill was a babysitter for the kids and then became
yeah, it's so shady.
But point being about all this,
Sounds like he
it's
killed
just
his wife.
watching the narratives form, right? Is like the racial division that is pushed on us by sports, which is like a place where you go to jiu-jitsu, it's such a diverse group of people.
Yeah.
You go to a football locker room like I did in college, and it's like up and down the East Coast, people from all walks of life. Met so many different kinds of people. But then you look at sports media and it's just constantly hitting you with that divisive stuff that we just kind of saw come out in 2020. And point being about LeBron is that I think that some of this divisive stuff, there's money behind the scenes that influences people they're trying to enter China, right? Like when you consider the way that the Wall Street Journal is trying to enter China, the New York Times is trying to enter China, the same way that you weren't able to tell the truth about what was going on in Russia. If you were in Russia, you can't do business. You can't sell your stuff in China if you don't do what they want you to say. They have control of you. They have control of people here. They have, especially California. Shit. I had this feeling during COVID. I was like, if World War III happens, and they infiltrate New York and LA, the media's not going to tell us, and then they're going to shadow ban all of us for telling everybody. Hey,
well, that's what I think these hidden plea. Listen, I'm not afraid of China. I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I'm not. Like, dude, they're all autistic. Okay. Like, have you ever seen them on a plane? Good luck. They can't even get off the plane without fucking bumping into walls. I'm sorry, dude. China got their ass beat by Japan. We've talked about this. They got like that. That's like the United States getting their ass beat by Connecticut.
There's no incentive for them to ever go to war.
No,
with us
there is
either.
no
There's
incentive. But that is again the giant fear of that they're going to come. And again, I'm not saying it's okay that China spies on us. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying you're more likely, especially with this TikTok bill, to be fucked by your own government.
Yes.
I mean, like, dude, when they're talking about VPNs, the VPN,
So it'll be illegal to use a VPN, right?
not just illegal, 20 years minimum in jail. 20 years, dude. 20 years. It's like insanity because they can't compete with us.
Yeah, they can't.
They can't. And it goes back to what you're saying. Look at the amount of money that they spend to produce CNN for the views that they get.
Yeah.
When there's YouTube channels that do the exact same thing for way less money and put it out instantly.
Yeah, with three guys in a room.
Like, imagine how much like producers hate Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even think they give a shit about Mr. Beast because Mr. Beast is like doing like easily, to say it nicely, easily digestible stuff.
Yeah, for kids.
Right?
He's awesome for the kids.
Like
kids
Joe
watching.
Rogan is a bigger, threat. Any of these awesome news sites on YouTube, which bring you the instantaneous stuff.
Oh, like Breaking Point? Like Breaking Point's great.
Yeah, Breaking Point.
Well, what do you think though about a news site that YouTube actually lets play ball with big numbers? Does you immediately question that? Because I do.
I do too, but I think they also need to generate some kind of revenue.
Yeah.
So they
they though? I thought that our idea is that they actually don't.
But they can't have no revenue. Yeah. There can't be zero revenue, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're a natural business. We're operating under natural business laws."
You gotta have some. You're not gonna get rid of You can't get rid of everybody.
I mean, like, dude, they
Too
took
obvious
a giant hit when Joe Rogan left. Like for his whole podcast.
He talks that they monetize once he signed, they monetize all the episodes to get like the last of his money that they could.
That's so funny. Did he say that?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
He says that like right when he signed the contract.
Of course they did.
went and he noticed that they were all green.
Scumbags.
As in like, let me get the last revenue off of you before you got to dip out.
But ChatGPT is kicking their dicks in.
How so?
Because if you, Johnny, we talk about this already.
On Broken Sim that they're actually stealing their thing. It's called Bard, their equivalent of ChatGPT, and they they had some resignations, I think last week, because they were stealing, allegedly, according to the guy who resigned, stealing from ChatGPT, even, and they've denied that, of course. But yeah, apparently they're scrambling. They're worried about it, and because they think it's going to replace search.
I don't want to give too much away because it's on Broken Sim, but they're making cutting back on costs. Let's just say.
Yeah.
And
staplers.
And so if you take that, and you also do, and Johnny, correct me if I'm wrong, but Apple making it so you could tell them not to get your data.
That's right. Yeah.
That has crippled Google.
Oh, your locations? Yeah.
Everything. But like you remember when you do download an app to be like, ask the app not, which is I always found was really interesting wording. Ask app not to
track.
Ask it.
Track.
Are they going to agree with you?
Yeah,
or?
that's always me. I'm like, or can I say tell app not to?
Yeah, that's a funny. You're right. Yeah,
let's be a little more forceful here.
Yeah, like, am I asking for permission? They're like, nah.
Please don't track me, mister.
Please, mister.
But Rogan's such a weapon, right? And that's the other thing is that I wanted this book to be a weapon, right? I want it to be a weapon against the narrative. I want it to be a weapon against the system. And it is in so many different ways. And I think that's what's so powerful about Joe, too, right?
Yeah.
He is probably the largest weapon that the people have against the system. And he plays his role really well. He can't be as out and open and conspiratorial as maybe some of us can. But he's that, in his way, that he calls you the tip of the spear. But he's his own tip of the spear, too, in that he's now mainstream. People here, not mainstream in the sense...
No, he's the most powerful voice in news.
Yeah. He's
There's
the most
nobody
powerful.
close to him.
He has Sanjay Gupta on. A bunch of CNN people are like, oh, I get to listen to Sanjay Gupta for 3 hours. He eviscerates him.
Yeah,
and
right.
Schellenberger, it goes through like some of the past guests that he's had on. Renee DiResta, she was this woman who was talking about Russian disinformation in 2016. He illustrates all the shady connections with her and how she just seems to pop up everywhere. Osterholm, the guy he had on early in COVID that was telling everyone that everyone's going to die. He shows all the shady connections with him and everything like that. So he's just giving people this space to talk for 3 hours and hang themselves.
Yeah, he's you know, I get a lot of shit because I mean, I'll go to war for Rogan and everybody like, oh, shield guy. Like, dude, it's called friendship, bro. And the guys helped me more than I would ever, I could ever pay him back. You guys just have no clue.
When you say it like that, though, it makes it sound like you're defending him, even though you know. But that's not what you're saying. You're not saying just because he's a friend, I'm defending him. You're defending him because you know him.
I defend him because I know him. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, like, I guess I don't know what you're saying right there because I am defending him because he's a friend.
But when you say that, it sounds like even if he was a shill, I would defend him because he's my friend. And that's not what you're saying, right?
No.
Yeah, I mean, like, people need to understand. There's some people out there that I've stopped fucking with.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And some of these people treated me very well, and I know who they are, and I don't fuck with them anymore. And I move the fuck on. So that I don't do that.
Yeah.
Like,
But
you know,
it just sound- I get what you're
I
saying.
see how Joe Rogan operates in front of the camera and behind the
That's it,
camera.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's the same guy. And I know this is gonna get chopped up, and everyone's gonna go. No, I don't care. Like, dude, people I'm friends with. I feel like you should defend them at all costs
He's served
if
one
they're
of the
good people,
He has-
If they're good
and you
people.
don't feel like they've done wrong, or they've done things that maybe they shouldn't be getting the level of shit that they're getting. Right?
Yeah.
Or deserve forgiveness in some cases.
Yeah, or deserve forgiveness because nobody's fucking perfect. And I
Yeah.
get it, dude. I get it. And I watch Rogan. I understand. Rogan also has this, and this is Sam speaking because I've studied him. Rogan also has this amazing way of getting information out
Dude.
while not also simultaneously acting like he doesn't want it out. Right?
Yeah.
So be like, dude, you don't know what you're talking about. Let the guy talk forever. Yeah, well, that's stupid. That's dumb that you would even say that on this giant fucking show.
He's
that
carried our
everybody's
narrative
listening to.
around. He's carried the narrative along, like the counter narrative from like, that's another really interesting thing is while I was here in January 2022, the hippies from Laurel Canyon are trying to get him kicked off Spotify.
Yeah.
The fake controlled hippies are trying
Yes.
to get him kicked off
Yes.
Spotify
Yes.
for telling the truth about the vaccine.
Yes.
Right? So we got the hippies, the controlled opposition that was placed into music to carry an entire generation along to think that they were rebels. And now they've got those rebels are now boomers watching CNN, listen to all the same propaganda that those false idols that have been put in front of us by the system believe, right? And so
The greatest example of that isn't a hippie, but it is Rage Against the Machine. There's
best.
a meme going out about 90s liberals versus like today's liberals. And they use that woman who's a redhead screaming at somebody with the glasses.
Oh, she's great.
Where they have Zack De La Rocha, and it's like, fuck you, I won't do what you tell you. Then they show her. But what they should show is Zack De La Rocha again, saying, fuck you, I'll do what I tell you. I'll do what you tell me, right? Because they just can, this guy, and I love them, dude. Like, any super group that involves anybody in Rage Against the Machine is always insanely awesome. But that dumb motherfucker, the guitarist,
Tom Morello, yeah.
Tom Morello has weaponized.
He's a communist. I mean, he is a communist.
I'm like, bro, there's people getting stabbed all the time by the homeless. They are weaponized, bro. Like,
point.
where are you in your fucking gated community? Like, where you don't get these homeless people? Like, which is a super interesting. The guy in San Francisco that just got stabbed.
Dude.
Did you see what Jake Shields put? The guy who created Cash App
got stabbed in a good neighborhood.
got stabbed.
Really?
But he was calling out the virus narrative, and I just saw Jeremy from the Quarterly doing a story about how Jack from Twitter is in trouble.
For what?
And I didn't watch the whole video, but he's like, he's got some bad news, he's in trouble. And what does Jack what is he running now? Cash App.
Yeah. That's the scary thing, is that as things get crazier, random acts of violence
Against selective people.
Yeah. It's creepy, man.
Yeah.
It's creepy. It's like Russia, the stuff you hear about Putin. Oh, one of Putin's opponents, died in a fiery car accident. Like that journalist years ago, Michael's.
Or even that, I mean, you don't have to go back that far. That blogger last week, did you hear that story about how...
He was a pro-Russia blogger.
Right,
yeah.
but I think it's just as easily...
Ukraine.
Yeah, it's just as easily that it was Ukraine doing the same thing. Did you hear about this?
Oh, in Ukraine?
No, he was in Russia in a bar or something,
Pro-Russia.
doing like a pro-Russian talk, and some woman comes up to him and hands him like a statuette, and then walks away, and it eviscerates the group. It's a bomb,
Yeah, dude. Kills like 13 people, other people too, I think, right?
Holy
something like that,
shit.
Yeah. Wild.
And that's not the first one. There have been others. There's a whole. This is like a movement.
He was in Russia being pro-Russia, and a Ukrainian person.
Well, we don't. I mean, we assume that. Yeah, there's been some rumors that it was like another, like this, like multi-level sort of, like maybe it's a false flag, but I don't.
Putin did.
Yeah, he's done
Which
before.
Putin did with that movie theater, because he was polling so low when he tried to become the leader of Russia when he was Boris Yeltsin's guy. And is that Boris Yeltsin, or is that
Boris Yeltsin? Well, yeah, he proceeded.
Okay, because
Vladimir Putin,
what was the name of the guy that had the moppy hair in England that stepped out?
Boris Johnson. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I thought I was saying. But so Boris Yeltsin had to call the Clintons to get permission to get Putin in. Putin, it was associated with Boris Yeltsin, who everybody hated. And he's polling so low, he pulls his false flag attack in the movie theater. Poll shoots up, he gets elected, and he's never looked anyway. And if anybody thinks that Elon Musk is more rich or richer than Putin, they're crazy.
Yeah, forget about it.
Yeah, no way.
They're crazy. If you think he's more, he's richer than the House of Saud, you're crazy.
Yeah.
I do think there's some value to being able to walk with your money, though. I don't think Putin could just walk.
Walk anywhere? Yeah.
I mean, like, take his money and just go to the Maldives or something. You know what I mean? Like, he's stuck in where he is.
You don't think Putin can vacation?
No. I mean, like, I don't think he can quit being president and then take that wealth with him. Do you know what I'm saying? It depends on him staying in power. And
kind of like if you're a royal.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it comes with the position.
Yeah, it comes. That's what he's.
I mean, if you want a more obvious example of the corruption of our military-industrial system, right? Like, it's like we leave Afghanistan, we leave $85 billion worth of stuff behind for China to pick up, and then we immediately go to Ukraine. It's like, at minimum, we could have used that stuff, and then we give Ukraine a bunch of new stuff. We spend billions and billions of dollars in what? Again, Joe Biden. Joe Biden is somehow connected to Ukraine. Like the whole system is somehow connected to Ukraine. We hear rumblings of the biolabs and all that kind of stuff, and we're at the point now where we're like, oh, of course, we don't even like look into it. Like, of course that's real, you know. I haven't really looked deep into it, but there's biolabs there too, right? Like, so, you know, we are still lying. We're being told that COVID came from a raccoon dog. Like, the stories are so dumb
Dude, I
now.
love they just go, how much shit will they believe?
Yeah, they have it. Yeah.
Dude, there's raccoon dogs out there, and they got the COVID.
The Ukrainians now too have Leopard 2 tanks, you know, which is continuing on the Nazi tradition of naming the tanks after there were Tiger 2s in World War II. Now they're
course,
called
there's
Leopard,
Nazis all
and they
over
got them from Germany though. That's where they got them from, the tanks.
Dude, listen to me. This whole Ukrainian shit was like, everything's gotta go. I'm Joe Biden. We got tanks. We got rocket launchers. Everything's gotta go. We got new old stock. Gotta make room for the new stock. Take all these old weapons over to Ukraine. Everything's gotta go because we're going insane. That's all this was.
And I know you saw that video, and I know why would you let it out? The guy, the American soldier that was hitting up the gym.
What?
He was unloading a gun at the gym, and he had an American flag. You didn't see that video?
No. What
In,
is
in,
it?
in the United States?
No. There's a video that there's a Ukrainian soldier with American uniform shooting up a place, and is like, what? Who gave them American uniforms? Is that to wall us up?
Yeah.
He's shooting people?
No, he's just shooting up a gym, wasting bullets. Basically saying he's there wasting bullets when we're giving them bullets, and he's just shooting up a place. And he's in Ukraine, he's speaking in Ukraine, but he's got an American uniform.
It's all like, there are people will say in the political world that questioned what I was saying about Afghanistan being a giant theater production, you know, because there were things that made no fucking sense, like the video, the plane's trying to leave and everyone's dancing on the jet strip. You know, it's like, come on, bro, everything is theater. Like we were talking about.
You say, Kurt, I love what you say. It took me a few years to understand, but you were sitting in that hotel room when you were nice enough to come over. We did like a podcast together when you were there 2019. And you you said it to me like 3 times with big eyes. Culture is made up.
Yeah.
Culture is made up.
It's all fake.
Yeah, it's all made up.
It's like, what can we tell you that's the opposite of what you're supposed to do?
And the through line of the grand conspiracy is that intelligence community and the way that's what JFK got killed for, right? And then now, even through to today, we just see it everywhere. Nord Stream, Whitmer's kidnapping, January 6th, BLM Antifa riots. I mean, January 6th was basically an intelligence op to create, which makes you question the election even more now, right? Like, why did you need such a huge thing to happen that you clearly blew out of control, and then you fenced the entire White House?
Yeah.
And to show, like, because if you had an open inauguration for Joe Biden, it would have been like, you know, it would have been a very small crowd. Remember,
dude, that's 100% was this whole thing was about, because when Hillary failed,
yes,
and because what happened was that Bernie Sanders was getting arenas,
yes,
and Hillary was getting 40 people,
yes,
and the optics let everybody knew who was winning that.
They already rigged like the primary. Why wouldn't they rig the election?
Right. Right.
Well, if, in that case, why do we think that Trump won?
Because Trump was getting arenas.
Why didn't they rig it though? I mean, because I think they did.
They thought they had it in the bag.
I mean, they were so arrogant about it. There's a 99%
Dude, she didn't
chance.
even go to like what, Wisconsin?
Look, what's funny. Look. I type in inauguration of Biden, no crowds.
Because it was.
And then you type in inauguration of Trump. Here you go.
It was fenced.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Literally, it's like
COVID. Part of the COVID thing, right? Is this is an important piece of, and that's an important part of BLM, was it extended the COVID narrative, because remember, there was case counting. So we're all looking at those graphs during 2020, and the cases shoot up because now a bunch of people who haven't really been interacting with people now go out, they get a little sick, they're already scared, so they're going to go get those fake tests, which then the cycles got pulled down from 48 or whatever to 20 when Biden's president, right? So now we defeated COVID, right? COVID was so that we could pretend that there was a reason that Joe Biden only got 8 people to come see him, and Trump had it's like, look at those.
Yeah, 100%.
Look at those Trump mouth-breathing idiots, 50,000 of them in a field somewhere. They're going to get everyone sick. Meanwhile, Biden's being responsible. He has a crowd of 10 people.
Yeah, that's what I tell. That's why I tell Brian Callen every day. It's like there's no place where Joe Biden got a swell of following in any other place. There's nothing.
Brian has a book too, so hopefully it cracks it open and it cracks open his mind a little bit.
I do think there's a danger in this kind of talk, and I always bring this up, but that we underestimate how many people are truly just low information out there who vote for Joe Biden, and I think we have to guard against that when we talk about these things this way.
But let me ask you something.
I know a lot of people who did vote for him.
I get that. I'm not saying nobody voted for him. But to sit there and think they got more votes than Obama,
yes.
Okay,
almost 20,000 more.
Harris.
Well, we do have a lot more people in the country since
mail-in
Obama
ballots
ran, like registered voters. There were way more registered voters in that election than there were when Obama.
But that much?
No, not that much. But I crunched the numbers one time, and there are a lot more people in the country.
Okay.
There are always going to be more votes.
Johnny, I get that. But where did those type of numbers show up? Not meaning 81 million.
No, I agree.
But like any kind of sign where a large group of people
you would agree that
excitedly showed up for anything else that Joe Biden
You would agree,
did.
though, that Trump was galvanizing for the left.
Yeah, but
that's
the
true.
truth of the matter is like that left isn't big enough.
They voted against Trump more than they voted for Biden. I'll contend that.
I understand that. I understand that. But there's still, to me,
I still think, don't get me wrong. I've said in the beginning they were fixing it for Biden.
Right,
the mail-in ballots. I mean, anyone could get. I mean, if there's 2 candidates and you're the one who's supposed to win, the mail-in ballots was the end goal.
Oh,
right?
and just wait. They're moving for online voting now.
Yeah,
that's the next step. And then
anybody can
no
vote.
proof. Yeah, there's
even
no proof
even AI.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean,
Ready.
dude, then it becomes full banana. Because I remember there was a time where there were political pundits, political experts saying that based on the data, they don't ever see a Republican winning another election again.
Yeah.
And it was based on the idea that we're becoming such a liberal country.
And they said it was a regional party, a party of the South. Is what it was
right.
becoming.
You remember that?
Yeah, during Obama. Yeah.
And now they're like, now they have to rig it so badly because they're just
The propaganda didn't work.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's so obvious how evil they are right now.
Yeah. When you run Hillary, when you run Kamala Harris, I mean, you're supposed to be a liberal party and you're running somebody who got called out on stage. I mean, you run a dead person and a woman who, when she was 29 years old, she started sleeping with her 60-year-old boss to get ahead. Okay? Now, that's a woman who's committed to an objective, which is admirable, right? But obviously, she's easily corruptible, and, Tulsi Gabbard just should have basically shot her down.
Yeah.
And then this party goes
Annihilated her.
This party goes out and anoints her the backup to a dead guy.
Yeah. It's so insane.
What happens with her?
Who?
With Tulsi?
Kamala? Oh, Tulsi?
Tulsi?
Yeah, does she ever run? Does she
Well,
just sitting back right now?
Derek Bros just had an interview with her. He asked her about her WEF, not maybe her CFR connection. So I haven't watched it, so I can't say what he described. So I'm dying to see what he asked because he's not afraid to ask the.
She follows Eddie on Instagram. He asked her the same thing, and she explained it away. See, it was a sufficient explanation for Eddie.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah. I think that he's always still skeptical, but she had a reasoning. There's a lot of when Eddie brought it up to me, it's like Ron DeSantis said that George H.W. Bush was his hero at one point. Well, when was that video taken? Was it taken 15 years ago? We learned a lot.
Something's going on with Ron DeSantis, too, because he's doing some great stuff, but he's getting all the swamp people behind him, and I really like him. I don't like how Trump is attacking him. I think it's stupid. I think Trump is so far ahead that if he played nice with that guy, it would be better
It would go a
for
long
him.
way.
But that's just Trump. That's
Bring him in. Bring him on the team. I mean, let him sit out.
I
Get him
would
to sit
keep
out.
him in Florida.
No, but what I'm saying is let him sit out this cycle. Make
Yeah.
a deal with him. Say,
Yeah.
hey, dude, you sit out this cycle, and I will get behind you next time, and we will.
Okay, Johnny, let me ask you: does Trump already have one 4 years? Does he get a second?
No.
So he only gets one more this time,
Yeah,
right?
you only get one.
You only get
4,
2 terms.
8 period.
So I'd be like, dude,
Unless you're FDR.
yeah,
That's right.
Then you get to do whatever you
and
want.
you know they would love to do that with Obama.
Yeah, well, they're already doing it. He's just doing it from his basement, right?
Yeah.
So my thing was so they want to indict him or whatever, right, for those charges. If they go through, I thought that being a felon meant you couldn't run. That's
Well-
not true.
well,
You
they're
can be a felon and run. That's what I thought. I was like, what are they shooting for? What's the point of this?
Well, I
Even
mean-
if he gets indicted, like what happens? You can still run.
What's the rule on that, Johnny? You're a nerd dork.
Well, I know you can't vote. I don't know about running for office.
That's hilarious. You
No,
can
I
run
think
for office.
there's
There
only
would-
3 things that need to be happen for you to run. You have to be over 45, a U.S. citizen, and have to be in the states for 14 years.
No, you also
a
have to be
resident.
born in
Yeah.
America.
Yeah, no, that's
Which
it.
they're
Citizen.
trying to
Run
get
for
rid
anything
of, which
No.
won't be good.
Yeah, but you also have to be living in the states for 14 years. You can't just like come from from
Right.
Germany and be like, hey, I want to
Right,
be president here.
right.
There would be.
Those are the only 3 that I know.
Chaos.
I didn't know that. I thought that being a felony would.
Dude, there would be no better example of our political system that felons can't vote, but felons can run.
Yeah,
There'd be no
That
better.
would be
that would be
so
perfect.
Funny, dude.
that is true. I mean,
That is true.
reality.
I think you can run.
No,
There's
it's
no
true.
better example of the political reality in which we exist than that one right there.
Yeah, you got to be 35. Too.
You
That's
have
the
to be
other
a
thing.
criminal to be a politician.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I always say about why the Democratic Party is so corrupt, because real liberals, and I consider myself an old school liberal,
Yeah.
they don't run for office. They do community work. They help out on a local level. They don't run for power. People who run for power are about power.
Yes.
So they have to play this game.
Yes.
So I want to end on this because, I'm a spiritual guy. I have zero problems with anybody's religion, Christianity, Islam, Judaism. I just live and let live. Whatever makes you be a beautiful person. Do you think that all this stuff going on right now is a war on Christianity?
It's a war on spirituality. There's definitely a war on the spirit, right? You know, that we're not in a gun war, right? We're in a demoralization war, right? It's like one of the things that stuck out to me about getting canceled, right? And just kind of having to find a new thing to do is just like there's a whole corporate world where there's a lot of people that just are scared into silence, right? Like think of how many there's something crazy about our system that like you have to go to college to get one of those like corporate jobs, basically. So you have to go into debt and then you have to be able to pay off that debt. Why were the doctors so easy to control? Who has more debt than a doctor?
Oh, yeah. Watch Dope Sick, bro.
Dude, incredible.
I can't
Incredible.
believe that. I'm starting to think that's Revelation of the Method because
Maybe.
it's so it's such a powerful illustration
Amazing.
of how they operate.
It came out during COVID too, so they're talking about breakthrough pain while the breakthrough infection thing's happening.
Yeah.
And so they're illustrating the pharmaceutical companies, and as you know, with me, like I was a pill guy, after football, a neck injury, all that kind of stuff. So that's the lens through which all of this stuff comes from for me, right? And it's in there in the book too. Like it's like that was what set me off, was that I'm not even allowed to disagree with what's obviously like a pharmaceutical. Like we're not free until the pharmaceutical companies have a non-functioning product. Again, another non-functioning product that's going to kill people. Right. So from a spiritual perspective is that the system tries to shut you out of it. And the old communists at least had the courage to kill you. The new communists want you to overdose. They want you to commit suicide.
It's not over yet, bro.
Yeah, it's just true.
I mean, we saw that Super Bowl halftime show with Dr.
Yeah.
Dre. Those look exactly like FEMA camp houses that they were dancing on. They're such idiots. They don't even know what they're doing. But the whole thing is this, and I do a lot of podcasts, so sometimes I say the same stuff over and over again. But hey, it's all free shit, so enjoy it. But it's just like, show me where the gay community in Russia is. Show me where the gay community is in China. Show me where the ethnic minority is in Russia. Show me where they are in China. Show me how women are treated in China. Show me how women are treated in Russia. And these are the useful idiots that are causing chaos right now. They have no clue what's coming. They'll probably be dead by the time it happens.
Right.
But man, that's where it's going, bro. I mean, you look at China. Show me. We all think the Chinese are just all Chinese. Yes. But there are also different ethnic groups of Chinese.
Yeah.
And at one point, there were 300 and something different ethnic Chinese groups. There are now only 50. And 90-something% of the Chinese population is one ethnic group of Chinese. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You get wiped the fuck up. They don't put up with your shit. And you're playing stupid right now.
It's what I said about the corporations, right? Like at first, the corporations doing all the ESG stuff, and they're getting rid of one group of people, and you're like, whatever, I'm safe. Like we got a Mexican dude that trains with us.
I got Mexican dude.
Yeah, we all got Mexican guys, right? I got myself a Mexican, right?
Hey, congrats!
Hey.
You're first.
You pay him well?
This one we don't have to pay him. He
Yeah,
doesn't work there.
that's a
we
good
did hire.
Mexican.
We
He's
hired a couple Mexicans.
He's interning still?
No, we have some Mexicans that we pay.
You don't
They're
have to.
good.
You don't
They're
have to pay first generations. They're just happy.
Yeah, dude, they're happy. They're psyched.
No,
they're
keep your money, sir. Just don't call on me.
Man, and he
Just don't
works.
tell anybody I'm here.
Just give me a place to stay.
Yeah.
Give me a place to stay.
Let me leave.
He works for Facebook, and we were joking around about it, and he's like, yeah, like the first wave of people that got fired are like the old white guys. Now it's like he's like now they're eventually gonna come for me and everybody else, but everyone else is like, this is great, but eventually it comes for everyone. That's the distraction. The distraction is they're not gonna come for you. They are gonna come for you, and whether it's physically come for you because you disagree with the wide array of things that you're not supposed to disagree with. Trans, dude. When I was 8 years old, if you told me 25 years from now, everyone's going to be talking about chopping off dicks and shit, and that's like going to be like, and I was 8, I didn't know what my dick did yet, but I was like, that shit seems super important, dude. That seems super important. I'm going to need that later. I'm going to need that thing later,
you know,
dog.
it's this whole thing about outlaws, man. It's just like the people back in the day that wanted to be trans, wanted to cross-dress, that's how they wanted to live.
Yeah.
They sought it out. They went through everything to do that, and they got the positives of that and tons of negatives that come with that.
Yes.
It's like me with Dirty Comedy, me and Joey Diaz at the end of the night. We were the dirty ones at the Comedy Store. Don Barris as well, you know? Now everybody's dirty. They all want the It's like, no, not everybody's built for that lifestyle, that outlaw lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, dude, now that you can just say that you're a girl. You used to have to commit. You used to have to suck a dick, dude.
Yeah.
You used to have to suck a dick to be in the community. Now you just have to fucking wake up and be like, hey, I'm a girl today. Tomorrow I'm probably going to be a boy. The next day I'll be a girl.
Or a monkey, or a unicorn.
A foxkin or whatever, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like they've made everything mainstream, and not everybody's built for that outlaw life.
No.
That's why they're all fucking just spiraling out.
I heard a really good thing though about, you know, talking about the kid, like trans and the focus on the kid with the propaganda is that, you know, all the great, like Moses, Jesus, they lived during times where the system that was in place at that time was coming after the kids. And so that's always what they're trying to corrupt the children. They're trying to stop those kids from becoming that voice that's going to speak out. But what they're going to do is they're going to cause a lot of rebels in this generation. 100%. And that's for sure. And that's a positive thing too, because the stuff that they're pushing is so dumb and it's going to be so hard to go along with it that, you know, but that's what the other thing is, that people think that they're not going to come for their group or whatever. They are going to kick you out of the club. You know, go to college, get in debt, and then good luck finding a job. They're going to look at your social media history and realize that you didn't post the gay pride flag last June. So obviously, like, and that's what the system's always doing. It's taking a look at who's saying the right things. Being in sports media, right? They all know that they're supposed to say that thing after a shooting, right? Because the job of a sports media person is to know a little bit about the sport that they're covering, but also half their job is to say the right things on Twitter.
100%.
You know, and that's the
it's
spiritual
all
war.
legacies. It's all rich kids, and it's like you can say whatever you want about the Unabomber, but that dude nailed it.
He nailed it.
He nailed it. Rich kids are the biggest. Rich white kids are the most rich white liberals, most dangerous animal, man.
Malcolm X said the same thing.
They're just so fucking dangerous how they
Yeah.
operate and what they want you to
They don't know any better, and then they think they know everything because they've been.
And in reality, they don't like you. They pity you, dude.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing.
Yes.
They pity you.
And I think just like, this from a spiritual perspective and the stuff that we're talking about, just to bring it back to like Eddie and jiu-jitsu, man, like there's no better environment for the widest array of people, and what does Jesus do? One of the greatest examples that Jesus sets is he hangs out with everybody. It's not that he goes and sins with the prostitutes, but he's not judging them either. He can just be with
I'm tell you, bro, I think the whole thing about Mary being a hooker is all bullshit. I'm
Tell
telling
me.
you,
So what? That she wasn't, or that's
she wasn't.
No, I've never even heard that.
That was Jesus' boo.
Mary was?
his
Yeah.
main piece?
Yeah, no, not his piece. He loved
His
her.
only piece?
Like that was, they were the. I mean, you start talking about that, then the whole thing just starts to throw up. But I think she was his.
I'm talking about Mary
Wife.
Magdalene,
Yeah.
right? Not his mother.
No, not his mother. The
I was
hooker.
confused for a second too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
His
So,
hooker.
when you
The
say-
hooker. I don't think Mary was a hooker. Mary Magdalene. I think she was his wife. And we lost everybody.
No.
I don't believe anything.
That's something we're all gonna have to look into now.
I'm telling you, bro.
At one point, I did think you were talking about the Virgin
I did
Mary,
too.
and I was
I
like,
did
how
too.
would he get her
That'd be
pregnant?
real. Oh, well, I mean, if he is God, God got it. I mean, it's like some weird ass shit, dog. But that's my opinion. So, and I'm sure let the comments begin. The book is called Mastering Metals. It's about Eddie and his boy, James Watson, and it's just about the love of two friendships, the love of music, and just the world we live in today. And Zack's such a great guy, and I'm really excited to read this. Everything I have is it's like lizard people and all that. So it's good. It's gonna be fun to read something that's I know the person in the look at this 9-year-old Eddie Bravo Edgar.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
He's
cool
got
to
a
read
story.
this.
Like he talks about his dad. His dads were like,
Dude,
dude, yeah,
it's rough, man.
yeah. I've heard a little
But
bit of it.
that's
It's
why
rough.
it's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we like it's now that I have 3-year-olds, man, I'm really struggling between this thing of like protecting them from everything,
Yeah.
and letting them figure it out.
Yeah. It's tough. It's that my girl's kids are 14 and 12. I'm in that stage of like a different stage of it too now, trying to be as good as my dad was about like letting me figure it out.
Yeah.
Giving me the information I needed, but
Yeah.
not telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Just trying to point me in the right direction. And I think another part about martial arts that sticks out to me is that Eddie has become a father type of figure to so many people.
Oh, he's jiu-jitsu Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, man. 150 schools. And then all the people that are influenced by him to start. To write a book with him, I was influenced to start jiu-jitsu because of listening to him. Right? And that's crazy. This was during a time where I was, on pills, trying to figure out how I get off of them. And then the jiu-jitsu community and everything that is, and everything that Eddie stood for got me into it. The first thing I looked up was where's 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu. There wasn't one near me, so I started at a Renzo Gracie affiliate because of how good all those guys are, right? And then I come down to Austin, great community, all that kind of stuff, and he's built that. He's built that culture, and with that culture, like he's given a lot of people like us an environment within which to be yourself, to learn how to be yourself, and then to learn how to live being yourself, because the whole system's trying to just jab you into into something you're not. Put the suit on, put the tie on, 9 to 5. You're not going to work out. Maybe you work out after work, but you're just slowly on this ride that's not totally serving you. And it's an incredible gift for him to give everyone.
Listen, man, I obviously there's many podcasts out there where people talk about Eddie Bravo, talk about jiu-jitsu and all that stuff. And, I'm a recovering drug addict, struggled really hard with it. I would start jiu-jitsu and I would instantly quit because I just didn't believe in myself. And now that I've been sober for over 2 years, man, I'm having the best time. And I'm the least limber human being in the world, bro. I mean, like, I'm like Lego guy. I'm like, you know, and it's just like to be able to do these things. And I used to beat I can't do that to this year or that year. It's like, it's just a fun journey. And I think people think they're going to get their asses kicked. I think people think they're going to walk out of there with broken limbs and all that. And not that those things can't happen, right? But I think, man, if you start to do it, the journey you go on is so incredible. And like, again, when I was on drugs, I'd go to class. Like an hour felt like 50 years. But now it's like, man, I look up. It's like class is over. Oh man, that sucks. And it's like it's the best. And I've now noticed that when I don't work out for a week, I become very depressed, sluggish, angry. And I'm just like, it's such a blessing to just go in there, enjoy it, and go on a pace. Joey Diaz.
Blue belt.
Blue belt.
Joey Diaz, blue belt.
I couldn't be happier for that guy. And you see it, like that guy's seen everything. And you see that picture of him getting his blue belt, and that dude is affected, man. He is feeling the emotions of achieving a blue belt. And that is the coolest picture ever.
A blue belt is like you're in it. You're doing it. Like you know what you're doing. Like you're committed to it. A blue belt is a huge sign of commitment. Like we want to see that like this is something that you've made your lifestyle. You know, purple belt is like you're on the way to black belt, right? Brown belt is I haven't been there yet, so I'm not sure what it is. All of it is. It's purple belt, but a little bit better. Black belt, you've mastered it, right?
Yeah, I love it.
But blue belt is like you've committed to it, man. And Joey Diaz, it's not easy for him to commit to it. He's 60 years old.
Yeah.
So the fact that like people are able to be on this journey and the things that you learn from the sport is like there's nothing like it. The person you were the day you walked in versus the person you are wherever you're at.
I totally agree.
Is such a different person.
And just know there's people your age in the class.
Yes.
No matter how old you are, there's people your age in the class, and they're learning at that pace as well. And you know, listen, I don't have a black belt. I got to basically brown belt in JKD. Like I would have taken the test and passed flying, but I had to go to prom and try to get laid like an idiot. But these things are great. I have friends that are all black belts. It's great. But the truth is, it's the journey.
Yeah.
So you're on your own pace, and whenever you get there, you'll get there.
Trust the process.
Super
important thing.
I can't wait to listen to your next fight companion because you're already talking rubber guard. You already know the lingo, so I want to hear you be in the mix now. Be like, I can talk.
Just sneaking on him.
Yeah,
don't say nothing. You're like, I kind of like it kind of fell off, guys. I haven't been training. Then you come in, dude. You see the rubber guard?
Yeah,
he's got to sweep him here.
I had to take a week off the move, but I'm back. I'm gonna do something, then take some privates because I just want to get the basics down. But I'm loving it, dude. I've been telling this guy has bad knees. He doesn't think he can do it.
Torn ACL. I don't think it's a good idea.
Ooh.
Still?
No, it's repaired, but it's that thing where it's like,
I think you're a kid. You're just a kid.
How
You
old are
should
you?
try it.
30 without insurance.
30 without insurance. That's hilarious. How old are you? I'm 30 without insurance.
I should get everybody on the show.
I have problems with intimacy, so I'm not sure I can do it.
What?
I have problems with intimacy, physical intimacy. So I'm
you
not sure
just
I can
don't
do
like
it.
touching people.
All right. Well, I guess I won't give him a hug on the way out, huh?
Well, Zach, one more time, tell them where they can find you.
Mastering the Metal. You can find it on Amazon. There's Kindles. I read the audiobook. So I had a really good coach on it too. So I think I did a good job. People
that's
like
great.
it. Yeah, yeah.
Congrats.
So
How long did that take? That's a bitch, right?
No, people talk.
No, really?
People.
I've heard that's a nightmare.
It's. There are worse things, right? There are. Way
No, I
worse
mean,
things.
of course, yeah. But
Right, but like for me, it was fun in some respects to read your work and be almost like even when I was going through it, I was like, there's a little mistake here. I gotta.
yeah, well,
adjust
that's
how
part
I
of
say
the
it.
reason I heard it's kind of because you judge you kind of you become self-critical.
I've read it so many times, and I'm so comfortable with the editing process now that it took 4 days, and that's difficult. 4-hour days, 4-hour days of reading. But yeah, I mean, it was enjoyable. It's enjoyable to. It's the ego. The good ego thing about this is 3 people came together to write that book. All those words aren't mine. So people come to me, they're like, "Man, you wrote your writing is so good." It's like, yeah, man, I have Eddie Bravo and James Watson. Also, they're like.
How is James? Is
James,
he a cool guy?
James is great, man. And the conversation I had with him last night was the exact conversation I needed to have with somebody. And he's the guy that gives you the space to do that.
That's great.
It's always better when the author reads it too.
Yeah,
always-
yeah, it was
I like it
super.
when
I'm super passionate about the story. I'm super passionate about what Eddie's done. I'm super passionate about what 10th Planet represents, and then what James represents for Eddie. There's
Well-
a reason he wanted him front and center, because so much of what we are is what Eddie's learned from James.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's
You
a
know.
great story, dude. And I'm
Yeah.
very excited for you. I know I've been talking you through your journey, and anytime you reach a goal, it's such a
Yeah.
blessing. And it's just like so many people just don't set goals.
Yeah.
They just kind of complain that nothing's happening. It's like faith without works is dead.
Yes.
It's just the way it is. You have to attack it. You have to do it. And to see that you got this done, it's like, it's great, man. And maybe not everybody's the best author. I know I'm functionally illiterate, right? But I know that there's like, everybody's got something they're good at.
Yeah.
Just figure it out, get some fucking sack, and go for it. And
This-
if you fail, keep going.
This is my thing, man. Writing's my thing. You know, my
Do you know what your next book's going to be?
I would love to go on that next journey of where 10th Planet is from 2003 to now, right? Because I kind of stop at 2003, but tell you about who Eddie is. But I also want to do something culturally relevant. I want to take a journey and talk about someone who's a real hero, right? Like someone and not an idol worth worshiping, but a story worth telling and following.
Well, I
Right.
respect it.
You know, like an Alex Jones. Imagine being with Alex for a week and getting to the bottom of who Alex Jones is, while also having a narrative that surrounds everything going on. I mean, I was at the Alex Jones premiere with Eddie for his documentary, and by the way, I was way too high, so there's a little bit of a commotion outside, and I'm looking around the room, and it's like Glenn Greenwald and Cernovich and everyone from InfoWars and Savannah Hernandez and Eddie and all these people, and I'm like, man, this is a good room for them to kill. This is a really good room for them to take out, dude. There's a lot of loose lips in here, dog. And so,
So you're telling us we should never all be in one spot?
dude, they had to tell people the day of the address, you know, that kind of thing. So,
Isn't that crazy? Dude?
yeah, but
Say Malaysian Airlines, you were where you were going to get Malaysian Airlines.
yeah. That was a 2-week news cycle about Malaysian Airlines. But I want to write things that I want to make reading exciting. Like you'll see the book jumps all over the place with a bunch of themes that don't seem interrelated, but they all come together. I don't waste any words. Like my dad was my editor from the time I started writing, like 24 through to now. Anything super important that I did, he's read.
I love it.
So he taught me how to edit myself and taught me how to, you know how we can all be. We can always talk and talk and talk, but how do we get everything we're saying into the most digestible? I need to keep your attention because you're going to get distracted by everything else out there. You have an infinite amount of information and entertainment you can take in. How am I going to get you to sit with this book for 8 hours? You know, because that's how long the audiobook took. So
I love it, dude.
You know?
Zach, you're doing great things, dude.
Thank you.
And I consider you a good friend, so I'm very excited that you've been able to get this and put out the Kindle, put out the hardback and hardcover, excuse me. So congratulations, good luck. I hope everybody checks it out. If you love Eddie, you love just the journey, you love conspiracies, this is the book for you. So thanks so much, dude.
yeah.
And we'll talk to you soon, guy. Again, just go to samtripoli.com. I got Toronto, hopefully. I got 2 shows. I got Comedy Chaos 2 shows, and that's April 11th, 8th, and 8 and 10:30. 2 murder shows, then Toronto, then some new shows coming up in May. San Diego, I'm in June. Go check it out. And also, guys, check out samtripoli.com for all of our affiliates. And again, at the end of this episode, here's some sneak peeks of Broken Sim, Conspiracy Social Club, and hopefully we don't smoke the same. And thank you for tuning in. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this week of 3 shows. I hope you guys appreciate it because we appreciate you. Take care. Have a great day. Enjoy your week. Bye, everybody.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim.
Here's a story of just more like what the hell are we doing? Science and business together. Why are we doing this? This is from Money Watch, CBS News Money Watch. Startup makes giant meatball out of lab-grown mammoth meat.
There's nothing about that says eat that meatball to
A
me.
meatball made of lab-grown mammoth meat was unveiled at a science museum in the Netherlands on Tuesday. Vow, V-O-W, the startup that made the meatball, created it using genetic information from the long-extinct mammoth, company researchers said in Tuesday's media event. First of all, here's the biggest fucking meatball I've ever seen in my life. Look at this thing. Check that out, Sam. Look at that meatball. Look at the size of that son of a bitch. That's some meatball right there.
Yeah.
Would you be curious what a mammoth meatball tastes like?
Yes.
Would you try it? Would you take a bite?
I would not try. I'd have you try it and tell me what you think.
I'm your like taster.
Yeah,
food
you're
taster.
my food tester.
Okay. Some holes in the genetic sequence were filled in using data from the mammoth's closest living relative, the African elephant. Also, that's like Jurassic Park shit right there, dude. It turns out they can't make them living, but they can make meatballs. The process for making cultured meat usually starts with cells taken from a living animal. Those cells are immersed in nutrients and grown into meat in a lab. In this case, the mammoth genes were inserted into a sheep cell. The mammoth gene was then overexpressed, so it would be more prevalent in the final product than the sheep. No one has tasted the mammoth meat, Valve founder Tim Noakesmith disclosed. Oh, I see. So they're waiting on some rich son of a bitch to come along and be like, I want to be the first modern human to taste the flesh of mammoth.
Ugh.
That's what they're waiting for.
Johnny, does that excite you at all?
It doesn't mean that
like
you
there's so
can't
many
eat
problems
it,
in the world. Where does synthetic mammal
That's
meat?
what I'm saying. Yeah.
What kind of animal was it?
A mammoth, a woolly mammoth, like an extinct mammoth.
Yeah. Where does that go? Where's that on the list of problems that need to get solved?
Here's what the founder says. It doesn't mean that you can't eat it, but because this protein is literally 4,000 years old, we haven't seen it for a very, very long time. It means that we would want to put it through seriously rigorous testing like we do with any product that we want to bring to market. So they're seriously talking about bringing like mammoth burgers to market. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, I can't imagine that, Johnny. They want to see insects. Why wouldn't mammoth meat be on
This
the
was
list?
like when I went to space camp and they had space dots for the first time. Nobody knew what those were yet, and you got to eat them before anybody else in the country.
Yeah.
And then now they're everywhere.
Do you feel
Mammoth
like
meat.
you were like an experiment monkey?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And did that did make you want to poop more?
It did, but I held it. I held it strong.
Respect.
Did you see this? Just Alex Stein just posted this. He's so funny. Just look at this.
Oh yeah, I
dude.
love this.
Did you see this?
He's so funny.
He's the
bro.
best, man. He's always doing stuff. He's just always got something going. Look at this. This is his wife
Hey guys, it's
and
me,
her
Alice.
boyfriend,
I'm with my
and they're
wife
doing a
and her
gender reveal.
boyfriend, Dontarius. We just found out we're pregnant. Dontarius is the father, and we're here to do the gender reveal. So, twist it, honey.
God, he's so funny.
What is Rambo?
That means the baby's non-binary.
I love that guy, man. He's so good, dude. Isn't he the best?
Yeah, it's just crazy. Have you seen him go to those trans like?
Oh, and they just like spit on him,
and they touch him, and I'm like, it's like
they're
it's
hypocrites.
like it's like when a tiny woman hits a big guy, and we all just go, "Oh, you can get away with that because of the power dynamic here." And if that ever switched, you would be annihilated.
Oh, forget it. Oh, you'd be destroyed. Yeah.
Have you
It's
seen
over.
the video where like the trans person comes up and goes, "This is what a woman's nipple looks like," and then does the biggest like gay punch in the world, right?
That sounds fabulous, though.
And then he goes after them, and the cops protect the trans.
Is it Stein?
No, it's some now. But it's just like this is where we're at right now. There is an invisible thumb on the scale.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's everything has this like weird calculus that goes into it that is completely bullshit.
Yeah.
Have you been watching Mandalorian?
I have.
Did you watch the episode where Grogu, Baby Yoda, is thinking back to what happened?
And he's having flashbacks?
Yeah, having flashbacks. Okay, so did you know the Jedi who saved him? Do you know who that actor is?
No.
Because this is one of my favorite things. So that actor is the guy who played Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, really?
In the prequels. And he was devastated by the feedback from that.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
John Favreau and those guys were like, you know what? Let's give this guy something cool that he can
is
hang
so
his hat
cool.
on in Star Wars. And they made him this badass Jedi that just cuts down all these clone troopers. And
that's cool.
Isn't that great?
Let's get his name. Let's give him
Ahmed
a
Best.
shot.
Ahmed Best.
Ahmed Best?
Ahmed Best.
Ahmed Best.
Yeah.
Well, he was great in it.
He was good, yeah. And that's the guy right there.
Do you think they'll bring him back on other things?
I hope so. I mean, he's part of the...
Good for him.
He's
Ahmed
part
Best
of the,
was great in that.
Yeah,
That
he was
great.
fantastic. I just want
I'm
to see
sorry
if they
that they
ever quit.
didn't like his character, but the character was awful.
It was terrible. Yeah, and he was, his feelings were hurt by that, and here he is being a badass. And
I want to be a
clip from-
Jedi so bad.
oh, dude, it's the best like superpower to have.
That's so cool.
Like they just
bro.
made him a pure badass.
That's so.
They call
cool.
him that Jedi. His nickname was the
John
Sabered Hand.
Favreau's cool, even though I had a weird moment with him on stage.
I know he's giving Tate Fletcher a lot of work. Our friend Tate Fletcher.
Tate's in. Tate's one of the.
He's in every episode. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the.
Paz Vizsla, the big ass.
Yeah, the big guy. And here's a quick sneak peek of Conspiracy Social Club. Enjoy.
You simply are crazy if you believe that the deep state, that the CIA and the FBI or whoever, anybody in the government, actually has anything to do with and has orchestrated any mass shooting. You're crazy. It's never happened. There is no one in the deep state that is responsible for things that happen like Vegas, like Nashville, and like all these other tragedies, like Sandy Hook.
What?
And anyone who thinks otherwise is you're actually crazy.
Brian, you're totally well within your right to hold that painfully myopic viewpoint.
No.
But
what the fuck are you?
But
you're not allowed to be galvanizing his point of view.
No,
you're supposed to be an impartial judge, and you just literally showed us that the fix is in, and your fucking bias is blaring.
Read the comments, Brian. Everyone said they go 2-on-1
amazing how
every
this
episode.
is 2-on-1 here. It's been 2-on-1 from day one, episode 229, and I am like a Spartan at the gates of Thermopylae.
Yeah.
Where are you?
You pagans.
Thermometer?
You Persian, all due respect to Iranians who are Shia Muslim.
Who are
but
you? There's not even a camera there.
You ancient pagan Persians are trying to get through the hot gates. And I want everyone who's watching to know that I will stand firm.
Yeah, but
I will stand firm, and I will take their slings and arrows. And if I die holding the hot gates. I die forward. I do not die on my back. I will die on my face because I will charge.
In denial.
I will continue to fight.
Yeah.
I will continue to fight like hell.
Yeah.
I am your vengeance.
Brian, this is Brian.
I am your bulwark.
The government cares for you.
That's right.
That's right. Brian just getting lit up with a bukkake of arrows.
I'm dealing with
it's not from the government.
I'm dealing with a bukkake of misinformation, malinformation, and what's the other one? Misinformation.
Okay, you already said it.
Well, I just wanted to try to reel you back in with this last thing.
Thank you.
That was very, very poetic, but spoiler alert, the Persians win.
I know they do.
You're just outnumbered.
Yeah. I'm aware, but then Athens came in and defeated the Persians.
That's true, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
the point is that the government's behind all this.
So I do think it's a little bit odd that these two security guards go on the Ellen DeGeneres show to break down what happened that day that has sacred numerology kind of imbued in the actuality of it.
But
so
she should have played Pinocchio. I don't know why I said that, but I just thought she would have been, they could animate her. She looks like
Brian, what?
Pinocchio.
can we just take a look at this?
What?
I just said it.
Just take a look.
That's what you got out of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
She looks like,
Here we go.
she looks very thin.
I just found out some really disturbing
I love
things
this
about
guy.
Ellen DeGeneres, and I'm not worried about her weird satanic sweatshirt. But as we watch this video, the camera creeps inside of her house, and you can see that weird evil thoughts picture. I looked up the artist, and he's into some really satanic stuff. And that's not even the weird thing. Look at this picture of Ellen sitting inside of her home. This is the picture right behind her, and see those letters on the top of the picture? These are the same letters that you write out during spirit cooking. Look at this picture of her cutting her mother's hair. Look at that picture above her head. It looks like a kid's drawing of someone being tortured or something.
Brian, you got to stop.
You see that
getting your
thing right there?
information.
That's
Sam,
called frazzle drift.
You have
that
to
picture.
stop getting your information from TikTok.
All right, guys, real quick before we're done, we want to tell you about all of our affiliates. It's a great way to support the show. As you know, fiat money is chaos. Okay, fractional reserve banking, dangerous. The best way to get out of it is precious metals, in particular, silver and gold. And that's why we're working at Wise Wolf, okay? Wise Wolf, silver and gold. Just go to samtripoli.com or samtripoli.gold, and you could join, and he's hooking you up. They got great you can either buy single time or you can sign up for their program where you can buy up to $500 a month. I'm doing it. I hope you can too. We also have everybody at Eagle Research. That's right. Eagle Research, AquaCure Mobile, Model AC50 brown gas, hydrogen brown gas. The guy who makes it says it's secure. People are using it. Check it out. Just go there, use the promo code tinfoil hat, 3 words, and get a discount. Go back to the main page, Sam Tripoli. You will get you get a discount with the promo code tinfoil. And then our good friends over at HaleyRayCrystalShop.com. Go to the promo code is Swarm15. Get 15% off all your crystals, all your quartz, all you name it. What do we got here? Look at all this stuff. All this stuff, all the best. You can do it right there. It's all part of the best crystal shop on the internet. Jewels, bracelets, clusters, you name it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Candles, you name it. You got it. Swarm15. Thank you for supporting the show. We love you. And thank you so much for your support.
Hey, what's up, you stoners? Here's a quick little clip of We Don't Smoke the Same. Check it out. I just think it's fucked up that men only really have one option when it comes to getting a bitch pregnant. Got one option, really. Condom. That's it.
Not
That's
really.
it.
Did you hear the good? No. Did you hear the good news?
And abstinence.
Did
Those
you
are
hear
your
the
3
good
options.
news though?
Yeah, that it's coming, but it's still a trial run.
No. It's like next year you're looking at it. You could buy it,
dude. Females have so many options.
But think
if a female tells you you have to wear a condom, what do we always do? Wear a fucking condom. Not once have I been like,
would you have?
We're not fucking bitch. No, I put the condom on.
Would you have more?
No.
Would you have more empathy towards a woman? Like, cause don't get me wrong. Like sometimes I feel like as men we take that birth control shit like lightly, but that shit has repercussions. Like this is the reason your bitch acts up sometime. Okay. This is the reason your bitch starts crying because you tell her like, hey. Like, you know, I said a certain word a little bit louder than I should have, and she's like, okay, bro, like for real, like certain shit like that, like, but I'm saying, like, would you have more empathy if you, let's just say Xavier is like, I still want to live that bachelor life, male birth control, you just tell a bitch, don't worry about it, I'm on the fucking pill, I could just, you shoot up the club every night, bam, 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 just shooting up nuts every night, this is blanks, but then you start seeing the repercussions that 2 days out of the fucking, 2 days out of the fucking month,
shout out to females that are on birth control.
You're Bill Daltrying him.
If you're a female,
you could blank that out. But I'm saying like two days out of the month, you're Bill Daltrying him. You're just sad, depressed.
No, I don't blame him, dude. I said it. Any girl who takes birth control, if that shit makes you fat, if that makes your hormones out of place, shout out to you for taking it. For your man for busting nuts in you. And he better be busting a lot of nuts in you if you're doing that.
That's why my girl be getting mad sometimes, bro.
I don't blame him. Yeah, but at the end of the day, girls have a lot of control about when they get pregnant. Girls have a lot of control about when they get pregnant.
Putting on a condom is some bullshit, though, bro.
It's
like
a major bullshit. Yeah, like that's your only option. That's,
like, let's be real. Let's be real. Let's address the elephant in the room.
Condom suck.
No. I mean, besides condoms, have you ever put a condom and then se te va las ganas?
Germany. You read a book? Did you go to high school?
Yeah, bro, but fuck you, bitch.
And you went to Pearl Harbor. Do you know what happened with Pearl Harbor?
I know what happened with Pearl Harbor. These fools were sleeping and these fools just started dumping on them.
Middle of the night, dog.
Yeah.
They came in hot. Japan woke up a sleeping dragon. That's what they say that in the movie.
But that shit the balls though, bro. Dude. Like the balls to really be like, nah, it's cool. We got this. I'm like, fool. Do you know who you just bombed?
And the United States did not want to go into this war. They were like, we're fucking.
They're like, look, fool. We didn't want to bomb the shit, but now we gotta flex.
Yeah, flex hard.
Who was president at that time? Who authorized it?
Fucking FDR, Roosevelt. I'm pretty sure.
Damn. Really?
I don't think it was Roosevelt.
I think you're wrong about that.
Maybe Eisenhower. I don't know, man.
Whoever it was, that fool was no punk bitch. I'll tell you that much. That fool fucking said, nah. Drop the fucking nuke, bro. He was that's
man.
That's the Trump. That's the Trump of that era. That's the Trump of that era, bro.
Okay, so according to the Google search, we got Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Yeah, FDR.
And Harry S. Truman.
Yep, Harry S. Truman died. Harry S. Truman died or passed away.
And then FDR took over, right?
No. FDR died first, and then Harry S.
Okay. You're right. Yeah, you might be right.
Everything's in reverse with you, huh?
Green.
Yeah, I know shit.
ESL doesn't stand as it doesn't just stand for English as the second language. Xavier is everything second language.
Everything, history, everything. But I know
numbers, fucking like signs. Yeah.
Xavier, is there a conspiracy theory on FDR's the deal? Remember he had a deal?
That fool was an American man, bro. Straight up. That fool was he preserved parks. He was a grizzly man, bro.
Well, the only conspiracy I know is that
we go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Tinfoil hat, tinfoil hat, tinfoil.